Good morning again, all. Very special and warm welcome from sunny Kingston, Jamaica today. We are really excited and very happy to have you all in our session this morning. And we cannot wait to share lots of useful information that you will be able to use as we navigate these very challenging times. We have our facilitator with us, and she will be joined by her business partner, who will be working the session today. But before I hand over to them, let me introduce myself. My name is Jackie Pasley, and I will be moderating the session today. I want to take care of some administrative and housekeeping matters before we officially get into the session. So just to tell you a little bit about why we're doing this, the Kingston Creative Fresh Milk and the Jamaica, the American Friends for Jamaica partnered to bring this really exciting opportunity to the creatives across the Caribbean. The initiative is called Catapult, and Catapult is really designed to assist creatives across the Caribbean in navigating the digital space, creating the presence that you need to have, and to also help you with your earning potential in that whole digital space. For some persons, it might be new to you. For others, it might not be so new. So one of the initiative in Catapult is the digital creative training, and this session is one session or one module that we cover in the digital creative training, right? Today's session is entitled Digital Marketing, and our facilitator has done the session a few times, and I can tell you, I know you're in for an amazing treat today. So get ready and geared up for your session, right? Allow me to share my screen with you. And what I will be sharing is just what I like to call rules of engagement that will guide how we will function throughout today's session. The session is 3 hours long. And as you might be aware, for those of you who are probably joining our sessions for the very first time, you will realize that your mics are muted and your videos are disabled. And this is deliberate. We want to know that there's a nice smooth flow and that of the session, and that you get everything that you can possibly get out of the session today. And so, but of course, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your questions. We want to know that you're there, that you're following. And so your comments, we welcome them as well. And we're going to ask you to do that by placing your questions or your comments in the chat or in the Q&A. Some persons have already been using the feature, both features. So we're seeing the questions and we're seeing the comments and the good mornings in the chat and in Q&A. So please feel free, put all the questions in there. This is the time to ask all the questions, you know, so as we go through the session, make sure that you ask your questions. There's also a raise hand feature in that you can use. Please feel free to do that as well. There will be a session break at some point, and we ask that you, well, the facilitator will advise you a little bit more on that once I hand over to her in terms of the time and how long that session break will be, right? We ask at the end of the session that you complete 2 forms for us. One is a feedback form. Very, very, very important to us is that we know how you feel about the session. We have been very encouraged by some of the really great comments that we have been getting, but we also want to know the things that may not be going so well. And so we invite you to complete this form at the end of the session. I will place a link in the chat at the appropriate time and advise you that I've done so. And you will be able to complete the form at that time. We also have a short quiz that we will ask you to complete. And this is just so that we can get some kind of understanding of how much you understood from what was shared today. At the end of the 3-hour session, we will have what I like to refer to as a networking session or event. And this is where your mics will be enabled and you will be able to actually speak. The facilitator will be in the session for a little bit longer than the 3 hours. And so you will be able to engage her, even, you know, by speaking with her. And you may also very well find that there's an opportunity to reach out to a fellow attendee for one reason or the other. So we invite you to make really good use of this opportunity to reach out to other persons in the session as well. At the end of the training, you will receive a certificate. We encourage you to do the quiz because that determines the type of certificate that you get. So please do your quiz so that you know you can get one of those really nice fancy certificates and stuff. And finally, before I hand over to our facilitator, nobody says training has to be boring. Nobody says that you can't be engaged. We are going to make this session a really, really great one. And so I encourage you all to have fun as you learn this morning. And at this point, I'd like to hand over to our facilitator. Her name is Monique McIntosh, and she is ready and raring to go, and she has a lot of information to share. She also will be working closely with her business partner, who Kadia, who she'll tell you a little bit more about her once she starts, and I'm sure that they will not disappoint. They haven't to this point, and I'm sure today will be very exceptional. So at this point, I'd like to hand over to you, Monique.
Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be here to start our third and final session of the Digital Marketing for Creatives workshop. Guys, today is going to be an amazing session. I look forward to hearing all of your questions. Just to clarify with regards to the use of the Q&A and the chat for your questions, all of your questions that you want an answer to, whether a response or to be done live, please place them in the Q&A section. And if you have comments or you want to share something, that goes into the chat. All right, so we have some exciting things prepared for you today, and you are going to see and hear all of them. Enable external content. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're jumping straight into it. Good morning. My name is Monique McIntosh, and I'm your session leader for today. I am from the Digital Disruption Agency, DDA, and I'm located based in Kingston, Jamaica, right? At DDA, we are all about inclusive training, particularly within the field of digital marketing, whether it's social, email, SEO, all of the different areas to help empower you to reach your actual organizational goals, to make an impact, to make a difference in Caribbean creatives' lives. We literally partner with persons all over the Caribbean to deliver value to us, people who look and sound like us. I am also joined by my business partner, digital marketer extraordinaire, passionate digital educator, Miss Kadia Francis. And she's going to be moderating the chat. She's going to be moderating the Q&A section. And I'm going to check in with her periodically throughout the session to find out what you guys are saying, what's your feedback, what are your comments like. So we are going to be monitoring that chat, and we're going to be monitoring the Q&A segment. So don't be shy. Throw all of your questions in there, and we will deal with them as efficiently and as quickly as possible. For today's session, we're going to have a 15-minute break at 10:30 a.m. to 10:45. I have my clock over here, so I'm keeping tabs. Kadia can also give me a bit of a time check about 5 minutes before we're supposed to go on break, so that we do that. So letting you guys know what to prepare. All right. Make sure you have, whether it's a glass of water, you have your tea or whatever, you have a notebook or your notes app on your computer or your phone or whatever. and be ready for an amazing session. No further ado, we're gonna get started. All right, so we start out with an overview of digital marketing. What is this thing that we're talking about that everybody, it's all of a sudden about a buzzword and this topic that everybody is talking about now, right? So what is it? So in order to understand digital marketing, we also have to understand its roots, where it comes from, which starts out with traditional marketing. Now, our traditional marketing talks about any type of marketing that is not online. So that includes things like your newspaper, billboards, direct mail, or anything within the broadcast media. So that includes your radio and your TV. No, here is an ad that was super nostalgic for me. Not sure if you would have seen it
These cows live
in
on
your
green,
area.
green grass. The little cow asks, "Why is our butter so great?"
Oh, lucky cows, chew the cud and browse. 'Cause we're eating up our green, it makes our butter taste and free. All these days, the chew and browse.
So I don't know if you remember that ad or if it's even played where you live, but just a little bit of nostalgia to bring us back to traditional marketing and where everything kind of started, right?
Tastes better.
So now we go on to our definition of digital marketing. And I really liked this one from Kevin Green, the Executive Director of Marketing at Dell. And he defines digital marketing as digital marketing leverages electronic devices, no matter what the electronic device is, whether it's your PC, tablet, your phone is an electronic device, digital OOH, which is out of the home, and you can always look and see what that exactly refers to provide an experience that influences a desired audience to take an action. So let's break that down a little bit. Digital marketing leverages, uses, maneuvers. Digital marketing is, and the platforms are the vehicles you use. You are using these to do a goal. Your ultimate desire is not just to sell something, it's not just to show something, it's not just to make people know about you. It's about creating an experience online in this digital space. It is creating an experience that no is not just, oh wow, that was so nice, and that's where it ends. No, the experience that you're trying to create using these electronic devices, these digital platforms, should influence a desired audience, not a random smuddy, a desired audience to take an action. Now that action is of course determined by you. It may not be completely unique to you, but it is something that's determined by you. So whether you want that person to sign up to your email list, for example, that's an action. Whether you want somebody to go to your website, visit a link, whatever that specific action is, this is what digital marketing totally combined is supposed to be doing. Now that we have that introduction, right, and we'll bring back our definition here so that we can keep it in mind. Some examples include your blog / social media posts, your social media channels, websites, lead magnets. Those are examples of or digital marketing platforms. I'll carry it here for a second. I see that we have our raised hand. Cheryl raised her hand. Going to ask Kadia if you can enable her to speak, please?
Can we just get through this before we start taking raise hand questions? Just get through this first part. Cheryl, we see your raise hand and we're gonna allow you in just a minute. Could you just allow Monique to just get through this first part, please? Thank you.
All right. So we all know, or most of us are familiar with the 4 Ps of marketing. And these are basically foundational elements that are used to enable businesses, enable you, help you to meet the needs and expectations of customers. So the original 4 Ps were product. So literally, what are you providing to your customer? What are you providing to your audience? What product or service are you delivering to your consumer? So what's the product? What's the price? Price could actually be a marketing strategy. You may choose to price for exclusivity. So you may charge a premium price, or you may charge around market value. So you're competitive within the market, and you may choose to have a lower price. And so all 3 of those are just examples of how we use price as a marketing strategy. Place, literally, where are you located? Where can people find you, right? And promotions. So these are the 4. So promotions would encapsulate your advertising. It would also include any promotional activity that you engage in. Buy one, get one free, get a free sample, things like attending or participating in certain craft fairs or stuff like that. These are promotional activities, pop-up shops and stuff, trunk shows, promotional activities. So these are the original, the bona fide, carried over from traditional marketing, 4 Ps of marketing. Now that we have, marketing has evolved and it's gotten a lot more sophisticated. I won't even say a little, it's gotten a lot more sophisticated, and the consumer as well has gotten a lot more power. There have been 3 additions to the 4 Ps of marketing. Now, the purpose of going through this or having you understand these areas is these are the different elements that you want to come together within your own creative pursuit, within your own creative business, to really communicate your message, right? And you want to be leveraging these effectively. So we have people, maybe more than ever before. People are so important. Now, when we talk about people, we're talking about your staff. We're talking about the persons who work for you, who represent your company, business, organization, charity, whatever it is, artistic pursuit, that come into contact with your consumer at the point when they are considering or making a purchase from you, or really whenever they engage with your brand, right? So who does your customer come into contact with? That may include the intern that you have running your social media. And the question you may want to ask, or your niece or nephew or your grandson or whoever, you may want to question and ask yourself, is this person who I would want to be the only, in some cases, point of reference to my company, to my business, to my brand? So the people, super important, down to the shop attendees and store clerks. It's very, very, very important who these people are, if they're trained, how they relate to others. Next is your process. Now, this is all about operations and organization and how you've arranged and managed your business. What are the systems that are in place, and the processes included in delivering a product or service to your customer. So what are the steps? What processes, what systems, what steps do you have to go through, or does your customer have to go through in order to engage, support, buy from your brand, right? And then we have physical. Now, physical sounds a lot like place. What's the difference? So now the physical relates to all of the elements, the things included in the location. So what are the elements of this physical, or dare I say virtual environment, that the customer experiences? Sometimes you step into a coffee shop and the aroma of the freshly ground or freshly roasted coffee hits your tantalizes your senses, and you see beautiful works of art on the wall, and so you are experiencing something. What are these elements that contribute to your customers' positive experience when interacting with you? All right. So these are all elements that we'd like for you to be considering in marketing or branding your business generally, overall, as foundational. All right. So then we are going into, once we understand what we're sharing with our customers, what we're showcasing, our main foundational tenets, and how we're sharing that with our community, from the who we send, who our representative is, that talk to our customers, all of that. The other question is, what's your brand identity and your brand image? Because they are related, but they're not the same. Your brand identity is how your brand is being shown online. So I ask you, how is your brand being shown online? How are you showing up online? And your brand image, how is your brand identity affecting how persons perceive you? Because how you're showing up online is telling your customer, and sometimes not even your customer, something about you. You are sharing, you're communicating something right now, whether you're online or not. Because if I engage with your brand and I love your pieces, I love your works of art, I love this piece, and then I go to search for you online and I don't find you. Okay, I may be wondering, all right, so them not serious then. No, this is not a real brand, you know? Or maybe even worse, I find you, yay! And when I open your page, you haven't posted anything since 2018. Not much of a help for me when I wanted to find some more information, or I wanted to message you about commissioning some pieces for me, because I don't know if you're going to see it. And I don't even know if the number that you had on there is still active. I don't even know if you're still in business. Yeah. So what you're showing and representing online is having an impact on your business. And these elements include everything from your name to your logo. What icon do you use to represent you? The colors, shapes, and the other visual elements that you use to communicate and to share and talk about your brand. And the very copy. Now, copy refers to any text, words, particularly in advertising, in marketing materials that are used, right? And the tone, how that is shared, because we all can understand. You can say wow, and you can also say wow, and they mean two very different things, right? Okay, so I used a quick example, Trinidad Mogulista, right? And I have just a screen grab over here on the screen, just a quick snapshot of her Instagram, right? Now, when we talk about her brand identity and her brand image, when you deconstruct or break down certain elements, Trinidad Mogulista, the name, right? The name is telling you something. It's telling you I'm a female, and maybe I'm for females, right? Which is then concretized or supported by what we see. Um, the logo is on one of the things, but that's small, right? Um, l- Colors, shapes, and other visual elements. We already get that she has a basic theme working with. We get that her brand colors include this beautiful green and shades of green, actually, and pink. Um, and the copy and tone used, even though we're not going into the captions to go deep into it, if we look at this, the second image here, I want it all, right? That's telling you something about her brand. Girl, you totally got this. Telling you something about her brand. Sis, competition is cancelled. Telling you about her brand. It's communicating immediately messages about her brand. It's concretizing who she wants within her community. The text or the copy is connecting with her community. And if you're not a part of the community, you're not gonna like it. But if you are, then you could always connect and relate to these elements and these areas that she's talking about, right? All right. So brand identity and brand image, very important, very critical to how you share and how you show up and how people receive you based on what it is that you share online. Now, the whole purpose of digital media is to boost awareness for your brand, increase engagement, and generate traffic to your platforms. Now, this is very important to place and to share here, because when we're thinking about digital media, which by the way, just refers to content, digital media is content, whether it is a blog post that you shared yesterday, or you are posting something on Instagram, or you just uploaded a video to YouTube. The content, the video, the blog post, the image, all of these things, pieces of content, are meant to generate either awareness for your brand, so get persons to know about you, get persons to become aware of this new product line, this new collection, this new commission of art pieces, whatever it looks or sounds like to you. That's one use. Also, it can boost engagement. So you want to start a conversation. You want people to talk about whatever whatever topic, theme, area, work of art thing you have going on, and generate traffic to your platforms. Hey, I think in general, we understand, if only conceptually, part one and part two, generating awareness and boosting engagement. I want everybody to see it. I want 10 million likes and 40 follows and 1,000 comments. We understand generating awareness and boosting engagement, but the crux of the matter and the real work within digital marketing comes in generating traffic to your platforms. Now, the reason why this workshop is different from the social media marketing workshop is that digital marketing is so much bigger than social media marketing. Now, social media can be used to help do the first two, generating awareness and engagement and starting a conversation and talking to people. No, you want to use that, leverage that to send persons, to direct persons to your other platforms. No, there are many other platforms that can be used, and we're actually going to break through most of the major ones. We're going to go through them in the coming slides. But I wanted for us to establish or set our minds there that social media is not the be all and end all of everything. It is just a part of your digital marketing mix. It's a part of your arsenal. So you might, if you were going to combat, you might have your gun, but for hand-to-hand combat, maybe you need to know a little boxing. You know, the machine rifle is not going to help you with hand-to-hand combat, or you may have a knife. So this is a part of your arsenal, your toolkit to effectively do the job, right? So it's about awareness, engagement, and traffic. All right. So now, in order to effectively talk to your audience, in order to know where your audience is, where they live, we have to understand our audience. So I've said a lot, and we're laying the foundation of what we are talking about today, right? And this is very important so that when we go into section 2 of today's session, that you understand these foundational principles and elements so that we can build the biggest skyscraper after that. We can ideate and talk about all of the excitement, but this part, very important. In order to determine which platforms you should be on, need to be on, must go on, in order to determine, like Trinidad Mogalista, what her branding would look like, what it would sound like, which words and which phrases would connect and resonate with the person who comes onto her page. In order to have done all of that work and have done it so well in portraying her message, she has to understand her audience, and not from a surface level of understanding and, oh yeah, they're women or they're men or a random large age group. We're talking about targeting and narrowing down. So at the DDA, we've broken out an entire audience map for you, and we're going to go through that right now. After I go through this, we'll take a couple questions and then go into actually breaking this out with one of you. So make sure that you're paying attention to what's happening so that that process, you too can be working through that on your own as well. All right. So the audience map. There are many different elements to mapping your audience. Pardon me. Now, you have your demographic elements, and these, in many cases, are the things that we think of first when we think of an audience. Many of these are physical, non-changing characteristics about your community, which include their age, their gender, and how they identify, their marital status, their ethnic background, and their income. Most of the time, most of the cases, of course, I'm speaking generally, these things are set. These things are rigid. These things, your a specific stuffed animal appeals to a particular age group. Yes, there may be outliers. Yes, so a 40-year-old may buy one to remember their fallen child or hang on to memories of something from their childhood. But generally, your target, your audience, the people who connect most and can relate most to what you're sharing, your idea, your message, operates within a particular zone. So that's the foundational of any audience map, because that's where everything starts. I think overall, we are pretty comfortable with demographic information. At 15 to 20 years old, female, single, ethnic background, you may have a certain preference in terms of your product or service. Now, for ethnic background, guys, we're not talking racism. We're not talking racism. What we mean is if we take a multinational company like Digicel, like Flow, right? If Digicel is marketing a new product or service in Jamaica, they're going to use a different cultural and ethnic makeup than if they were pushing the same product in Trinidad. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about if you're marketing to Blacks in America, for example, the terminology or what would resonate and connect with persons of a particular area, but we could even go into a location and stuff like that, which will go into geographic, right? But we could go into your culture. And so I know I have to recognize Hanukkah, or I have to recognize Kwanzaa around Christmas time, right? So that's what we're really referring to, right? And no, it's not racist. Then we go into psychographics, right? When we look at psychographics, we're looking at what sort of activities does this person enjoy? What are their interests? Which social groups do they belong to? So what do they use their spare or free time to do, right? What are the things that they find interesting? What are their values and attitudes? So what really makes them tingle? What do they connect and enjoy? So you realize we started out at one level, and you must do that. Now, you must have the demographic information. You must have your core, right? At least the things you can see. That is foundational. But then we're like layers of an onion. We're peeling off the outer layer, which is the obvious. And now we're going into what really makes you tick. What do you enjoy? Which social activities are you a part of? So thinking back, Trinidad Mogalista, sis, competition is cancelled. Cancel culture is something that women of the millennial age group, which clearly Trinidad Mogalista is appealing to, they know what being cancelled is. Yeah. And they probably even engage in that kind of activity, right? So what sort of social groups, what helps to make up your whole day, your whole makeup, your activities that you do, right? So we have psychographics as another layer. Then we're peeling back even more and we're going to behavioral. So moving from how you think, right, into what you do. So what are your purchasing habits like? How often do you buy something? Do you buy it at all? Does somebody buy it for you, right? Your spending habits. how do you allocate your resources, right? As well as your brand interactions. Brand interactions can be as simple as do you like or follow the page? And it can go into as detailed as after you went to my website, how long did you spend here and where did you go after? And which pages on my site did you interact or engage with? And what did you do after that? After you put 50 items in your cart, did you check out or did you leave it there for a week? When you left it there for a week, did you come back and cancel the entire order or did you come back and purchase? If you came back and purchased, why did you come back and purchase? Did you see an ad that reminded you, oh my, I still have my in my cart, you know? So these different nuances, the elements, the gummy, the juice, you know, you try to extract from the customer. And then we have geographic, right? So this is talking about your local. Are you within a particular community or group, right? So literally a local community. We can talk about a national community too. So Jamaica, the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, like, you know, your national, whether it's identity, the space that you're operating from, regionally, so that would be Caribbean, Latin America, LATAM, and internationally around the world, right? So all of these different elements are just meant to help you to understand your customer even more, and to get a deeper insight into who they are and how they operate. I'm going to take a quick breath here and check in with Kadia in the event that we have some additional questions, and to see if there was still the question, the raised hand that came in earlier.
All right, good morning again, guys. So we have a question in the Q&A from Alberta Joseph Alexander, who asks, is the audience map similar to the customer avatar?
Yes, so the audience map that we're doing here is helping you to create who your target audience is. Once you create your target audience, which is your group, your target demographic, then we move forward into creating your avatar. Now, for everybody concerned now, your avatar is literally, you are picking out or you're identifying a person, a single person. Because you don't have the group, you already established the group. You're picking out one single person and you are breathing life into that person. You're giving them a name, you're giving them an age, just like if they were a regular person, you're assigning them a job so that you can visualize, you can think of your customer and you can literally talk to them. So yes, this is foundational blocks to help you to building your avatar.
Right, and just to add to what Monique says, that the avatar is a part of the group, but what you're doing is you're zoning in on the person who best represents that group. So it's the persona that best represents that entire, and this is your primary target audience, by the way, and you can have more than one. Depending on your product or depending on your brand. Monique would have said it earlier. If Digicel is promoting a particular thing that they have to Jamaicans, the look is going to be different. The copy is going to be different. How they approach that promotion is going to be different than if they were in Trinidad or Guyana or anywhere else that Digicel is in the Caribbean. And it's because they understand that the different groups respond to different things, and there are different cultural undertones that subconsciously we're going to respond to differently than if somebody said something like, for instance, use a Trinidadian slang that nobody in Jamaica knows about, and we're going, what? It's not going to have that same kind of connection or feel, right? So what this audience map is supposed to, what it is doing is showing you the different things that go into really deep diving your customer to find out exactly who they are, how they think, how they behave, and then to help you localize them. So is this a community? Are you doing something for the community? Is this something that your local community would respond to? And by local community, it could be literally a geographic area, or your local community could be an interest group. So the Kiwanis Club, for instance, would be a local community if you're a part of that. Or it could be some physical address. So Kingston 19, for instance, right? Some of us live in places where we have a chain of islands that make up the state. The people living on these different small islands, are they going to react the same way as people on the main island? Right? Maybe not. Maybe there's subtle difference. Sometimes the differences can be so subtle differences, and they can pick up. So you have to know who you're talking to be able to understand how to talk to them in a way that will connect with that person. So that is what Monique is doing with this audience map. It is, as she said, foundational to bring it to building your audience persona, but we're not yet at the audience persona. We're just going through the different things that will come up when you're building out your audience persona or your customer persona, Alberta. So I hope that helps. So Alberta has a follow-up question, Monique. Do you want to take it, or do you want to go to Cheryl, who had a raised hand? I don't know if Cheryl is still here and still wants to jump on.
Just let us know if you're
Cheryl, let
still
us
here.
know. Yeah.
Let us know if you're still here. We'll do the follow-up question.
Okay. All right, so Alberta follow-up. So you choose one of your clients and then build them up through the sections, demographics, or can you do it in the opposite direction? As she said, by opposite direction, meaning if you're beginning in business, you can build out who you wish to target. I'm not sure what you mean by opposite direction, but before you do anything at all, before you build out a social media profile, pay somebody to do an excitement website for you, you need to know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Before you have a business idea, you're thinking, how would this work? Before you even make a product or invest time in invest time in promoting and whatever, you need to know who you're talking to first. So you always start with, what is this product? And who is it for? What is the problem that I am solving for this group of people? What is the solution to an identified real problem that I am solving for this person? So what you're taking...
This also follows the very vein of how this presentation is arranged. We first went into definitions, whatever, but then we went into your brand and understanding what you want to communicate, who you are, all of those elements. So you have to understand what your product or service is first, and then know you're factoring in who it is that you are actually targeting. So the progression is natural.
Right. So Cheryl says she would have gotten the clarification while you went on, Monique. So that's good.
Okay.
All right. So Ashley Nash in the Q&A says, how would you go about finding out what works best for you as it relates to digital content? Now, Ashley, we're coming to digital content. We're not there just yet, okay? Yeah. She says like color schemes and captions, etc. Ashley, color schemes is not digital content. Just throwing that out there. Your caption isn't digital content either. Your captions are descriptives. How you describe your digital content and how you do it based on the algorithm, based on the platform, will determine who sees it. All right. So let's not confuse digital content with captions and color schemes. Color schemes are part of your digital identity. The caption is also part of your digital identity because it talks talks, it speaks to the language and the tone
Tone.
that you're using. So it's a part of your digital identity. So there's two parts. So digital identity referring to the physical aspects of your brand. Monique would have said it. So Monique, like your logo, your colors, your tagline, right?
Yeah.
But then you have this other part of your digital identity, which is the perception. It's more perceptive, it's more of a psychological thing. How does people identify you? What do they identify you with? What kind of message are you putting out there? What are your own brand attitudes and values? What do you stand for? What do you represent? That's also a part of your digital identity. All right. So it says, yes, the audience map helps out with that, but how do you really know what captivates the audience? But are there any programs that makes this process easier in terms of content? No, there isn't. There is no program. You literally have to sit down, Ashley, and do the hard work. There's no program that is going to help you figure it out. You have schedulers, you have all sorts of digital marketing tools, but
Right.
these tools, in fact,
Only work
if
when
you can input valid data for them to help you, if they can help you in this regard, right? So
right.
we are going to show you some tools. Monique is going to show you some tools that we have created, and you will get copies of them, worksheets, to help you. But there's no cut and paste. There is no fast. You just have to sit down and do the work. How do you know what captivates an audience? You don't until you start putting it out there, but you can make educated guesses based on, again, as you said earlier, these things in the audience map, their demographic, their geography, their psychology. You can make educated guess. In fact, guys, here's a big secret to marketing. We're all guessing. We are all playing one
nothing
big
just
game of
guaranteed.
guess, right? But why digital marketers tend to be successful is because the digital space gives you access to so much data. Your analytics on your social media platform. If you have a website, Google Analytics that you embed in your website to tell you who's coming to your website, how long are they staying on, which other site are they coming from to your site, right? So guys, the digital space gives you so much more information than traditional marketers could possibly dream of having. Because imagine you run a said anchor ad on TV. You're not going to really know how much person
Who
that
saw
ad
it?
reach, right? They
How
can
they felt about it?
how they
Their
felt about
feedback.
it and the response, right? Now the TV station can tell you how much viewers they had on that day, but you don't know if they saw it, right? So you can get precise data,
Information.
right, from your digital platforms, and that is part of how you know what your audience is responding to, Ashley. So it's a trial and error process, and once you get into a little rhythm,
You get it.
you get it. Ask questions of your audience. Ask them things.
There's
What do you want to
another
see?
there's
What do you want
another
us to do? Right.
There's another suggestion. So in addition to that, I think another very important element is scoping out the competition. So you're not the only person in the world who makes bracelets, for example, or sculptures or whatever. It may not be within your specific niche or your specific zone, but there are others sharing information online in different areas, whether luxury or, so you can actually scope out and see what else is happening online and what persons in different areas are responding to.
Exactly.
Based on your understanding, but it don't end there. So it's not a matter of copy and pasting their information. It's now looking at, okay, in the luxury brand world, they use minimalism a lot. There's a lot of incorporation of maybe the color white or lux or whatever. There are certain words that they use. Their tone or how they speak is a certain way. Versus something that's more down market that may have 10 million exclamation marks and have a different look or have a different feel. So you'd have to do some research as well to see what existed in the space, because you can learn from other people's mistakes.
Yes.
And you can use it from an international standpoint, but also see what other local examples, even if not in your industry, but particularly successful persons, possibly within the market, meaning if you're a high end or luxury brand versus, using those tiers or otherwise to say, how do I appeal to this customer? What else do they like?
Right. So actually, the long and short of everything that Monique and I just said is that there's a ton of information, there's a ton of data available to you in the digital space, and
What you have to use.
it starts with knowing what that data is, where to find it, and then how you're using that data. So Monique said, scope out your competition. Monique is going to go through that a little bit later. Scope out your competition and look what they're doing and what they're not doing. And you can find that there's a lot of magic in what they're not doing. If you can do that thing, if that is something that the audience is asking for, right, but they're not getting, that's one. Look at what other persons who are not necessarily your competitors but maybe doing something complementary to you. Look at what they're doing, because if it's something complementary to you, chances are their audience is there may be an intersection of audience there, right? So there's a lot of ways actually you can go about finding out, but honestly, there's no shortcut. You're just gonna have to literally take some time and do the work. But I promise you, you do the work one time, you build the foundation one time. No, it doesn't stay static, it evolves, but at least the foundation was already there and you're using data to build on that foundation. All right, Ashley, so I hope that answers your question. Lloyd Blanchard Monique says, how do I cater for 2 or more demographics within one message? Now that is an excellent question, Lloyd. Monique, you want to take it or you want me to take it?
Okay, so within talking to 2 different demographics, no, completely different. First and foremost, I want to understand Lloyd's how he's separating these groups. So that's in the back of my mind.
Yes.
About even how to navigate this question, because Lloyd sound like him know what he's doing.
No, well, earlier I had said that you can have multiple audiences, and you had said it as well. So and we were talking about how you talk to your different target audience. So I think what Lloyd is wanting to find out is, do you do one message? No, where I was going to go with it, Monique, is the A/B testing. So in marketing, you have what we call A/B testing, Lloyd. It's where you put out 2 so your say for instance, right, variation. You see, this is why we work so beautifully, right? Variations is the word, Monique. Thank you. So, Lloyd, say for instance, you are having an exhibit or something coming up. I'm not sure what you guys do, and I don't think everybody in here is in the creative space either. But say you have a product, guys, and you are promoting the product. Now, with A/B testing, what we do is that same product, we use variation of that same promotion and we run both at the same time. Now the messaging may be different for one, that may be the variation. The colors may be different for one, that may be the variation. The person that we use, say for instance, where somebody's talking, we might change the person that is talking. No, they might be saying the exact same thing.
That same thing, right?
But we're just changing the person that we're using. So maybe from a male to a female, or from
just changing one element.
So there may be just one element, right, Monique, that you're changing, that you're varying, and then you see which one audience responds to better or maybe differently than the other. No, it may not be a better or worse. It just may be that one audience really responds to good-looking men or cute females, or they just love the color blue. Or you may use a particular slang and they go, oh, this person is on it. They're up to the times, right? It just may be that one thing. And as I said, guys, it could be so subtle. It could be so subtle, but instantly connects with that person for whatever reason, and that's what they're responding to. So that is how you can do it to Lloyd. You can do the same thing. And how do you do that on social media? Just quickly, simple. You put one ad or one promotion or one post in your feed and then run something else in your story. The same thing you're promoting, but you're using something else for the story and you're using something else for the feed. Though we do that. So we have another platform called Digital Jamaica, and we do that. Every Thursday we have a live session that we do every Thursday night. It's called the Digital Jamaica Live Instagram Show. We'll give all sorts of tips on marketing and digital and tech and all this stuff. But what do? We create a particular post for our feed, and then a variation of that post for the story. Now, the variation sometimes is just that the size, because there's a size difference for stories. Now, what we didn't want to do is post the feed size to the story, because then that can create what we call content fatigue, where they're seeing the same thing in the post. Why are you showing the exact same thing in the story? Well, we said, okay, let's create a particular template for our stories so it matches, it fits, and it looks better, and we slightly change the wording in the stories to get people to set a reminder about it. Now, they may be seeing the same thing in the feed, but the text in the story is a little bit different and the image is different, and we see how they respond to different things, or they may respond differently to the two different things. So that is what we're talking about, how you can test it right there on your social media platform. It is not as hard as you guys think it is. It's as simple as just maybe running a different ad, even if you're only using your post feed. So you put a post up today and you may repurpose that same post maybe 2 weeks later or a month later to see if you get a different response to that post. All right. And in that way, you're not overextending yourself by producing a whole heap of different type of content around this one thing. So Kay Moore has a raised hand, Monique.
Hold on.
Sorry.
In terms of the question, because I think that there is another element
Sorry.
to more directly answer what was raised a while ago. Now, when we look at certain activities, take for instance your country. They're going on to the World Cup, for example, your football team, and there is a certain level of national pride, right? There are multiple audiences that are involved. You have the old granny, you have the young male who may be a football fanatic, you have me who not really into football, but yay, my country, right? No, so there are different segments, and one message could be transmitted, sent out, social media, online, web banner, whatever, and connect and resonate with multiple or many of those audiences.
Right.
Now, the core tenet element, the peanut butter to the jelly,
The common thread.
right? Across all of it is that there is still an anchor, there is still a core, there is still something that connects me with this message.
Yes.
The whole point of even doing or breaking out this whole audience map is not to give you an aneurysm. It is to help you be able to actually connect what I have to share, my bracelet, my pen, my hair products, my locks, my handcrafted jewelry, my t-shirt, whatever it is that you are producing, and actually making that make sense to me, your customer.
Right.
So you're not just saying, buy this pen, it writes. You are connecting with Monique, who has to communicate her thoughts on a piece of paper for it to make sense. You understand? You can literally talk to me and connect with me on a more intimate level, on an intimate basis, so that it's no longer just, oh, that's nice, that sounds nice,
Yeah, it's
and
just a pen.
turns into
I need
wow.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I connect with this brand. So all when the pen is $10,000 US, me I go save up and me I go. Why do people buy Clarks? Why do people buy more luxury items? Why do people? Why do you buy a Gucci T-shirt or Michael Kors T-shirt? Like you could have buy a regular T-shirt and spend $5, $10 US dollars or $15. Okay, ooh, 20. Yeah, why are you spending $150 on a Gucci T-shirt? Right? There is something that is now connecting you on a more intimate basis to that brand.
Awesome. So
That's
K
all I
Moore,
into.
K Moore has a raised hand. Are you
Sure.
ready to take her, Monique?
Yes.
All right, K Moore, we're gonna allow you to talk. You can unmute and we can get into it.
Hi, Kay. You have to unmute yourself. Hello.
Okay. Kay, are you still on? Kay, you have to unmute.
Yeah, we can only enable you, give you the permission to. We can't unmute you from our side.
All right, so Monique, we're not getting Kay. So all right. So Lloyd says that we answered the question. So that's awesome. Oh, hi. Hand not raised. Have a client at work. I've missed out. Okay, because a raised hand did go up, Kay. All right, Monique, do you want to see if you have any other questions or do you want to just finish and move?
Which other, yeah, let's see. Is there anything else happening in the chat? I see.
No, just questions. Somebody's asking for the link to the marketing show. Oh, the Digital Jamaica live show. Sure, Alberta. I will drop that link shortly, guys. If you have any more questions about what Monique would have gone through so far, 2 minutes more for these questions, and then we have to move on to the rest of the presentation, and then before we
Well,
go for the break.
Well, if there are no more questions, no, I'm going to go into I'll continue because we have that breakout.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Okay, guys. So we had a little jumping of the gun asking about audience personas. But with the introduction that we have, I'd love to go into it a little deeper. Now, the audience persona can be conceived or considered as a detailed day in the life. You can think of that to kind of break it out some more of an individual that actually represent your target group. No, your audience persona helps you to understand customers or prospective customers better. It helps you to tailor your content. So I'm literally seeing Trinidad Mogulista in my head over and over again because the content was tailored specifically for the audience. Somebody would have asked earlier, how do I do this? We're doing it right now. So this is the kind of information that you would need in order to get to a place like that. So that you can tailor your content, messaging, and tone to suit. It also honors you and your brand and what you want to represent, but you're connecting with this person, this audience. It also helps to shape your product and service development, because in understanding this customer, you can make particular tweaks that may help to make their life easier. If you're a mom and they have a certain type, you style ladies handbags, and you know drill in and identify that your target audience, that the age group includes young mothers, maybe you include some things that they still look, your product may be shaped by that, because you may say it still looks stylish and fashionable, but you can hold a diaper and a change of clothes and some wipes And there's a little zip for an insulated area so you can keep the baby bottle in there. These sort of things. So your understanding of your audience does not just go for marketing, it also goes to literally the development of your product and know how you talk about it, how you communicate. All right. So we have 10 minutes to go through an exercise. What I would love to do is have one person um, to just raise their hand. We're going to go through an exercise in the start of how you break out your audience, just as a working example for everybody. Now, if you're going to raise your hand, I would love if you have a concept or you have an idea of what it is that you're doing already. That's the only way that this is going to we're going to get the best or the most impact out of it. But it's a working example so that everyone in the chat can kind of get a feel of how to go through this process. And this document is also going to be shared with each and every one of you who
Right,
are
Monique.
today.
So Bradley said, hi, I think we have a problem with the interface because on my end, I'm not able to see the mic to unmute. Now, Bradley said he's using both PC and Android. Now, guys, if you're using your PC, in the lower left-hand corner, you should see a mic icon. And it should have a red slash in it. That means you are muted. If you click on the mic icon, it will unmute the mic. If you're on your mobile device, you're gonna have to, when you log in, you're gonna see something that says device or internet. You have to click to connect the audio with the device. So you have to click audio from device so you can see the mic. Lisan says, I don't see my mic at all. It's in the lower left-hand corner if you are using the on a laptop or on a desktop. It should be right beside where you see the icon for your video. Persons are saying it's not there for them. That's interesting.
Not sure what would
Not
be
sure why.
affecting that.
Right. We had a raise hand though from Xavier. So let me allow to talk. Xavier, can you unmute, please?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hi, Xavier.
Yes, we can hear you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing mostly well, by grace.
Okay, excellent. Xavier, very quickly, could you share a little bit about
before Xavier, sorry, Monique. Jackie, if you're listening, there's something happening with the mics. They're saying you have to give them access. I don't know if we did a mute from our end.
I'm looking at it because I'm seeing the comments.
Okay, good.
So I'm actually working on it.
You're working on it.
The back
Okay.
end. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
I got an invitation to unmute and I just clicked.
Right. Yeah, man, we did that. It's everybody else that we're working on.
Okay, maybe that's the issue. If guys to unmute, you probably have to do a raise hand, and we ask you, we allow you to talk, and then the icon may come up. Okay, maybe that's it. So if you want to jump on, do the raise hand. Okay.
Right, so that we can identify you. Yes, Xavier, I'd love to get a little bit about you. What do you do? Where are you from? Yeah, give us some context, please.
I am a recording and performing artist from Trinidad and Tobago. I practice what I call genre-defined soul music because it's not particular to any genre, but it's definitely music for the soul. I'm also do creative consultancy for creative projects, but that deal with the evolution of consciousness, whether it be food related or a party, but really empowerment and upliftment of people type projects, fashion, whatever.
Okay. All right. So we're going through an audience mapping exercise, and this is just the very beginning of it that we're going to cover in this session in just about 5 minutes. And so I'm just gonna power through it here, right? In terms of your audience in your as a recording artist, because we're just going to look at one facet or area, right? Because with your creative consulting, that audience is going to be different. Based on what you said a while ago, your bread and butter, your core, where you make your money, which one of these two is it? The recording artist or the creative consulting?
Yeah, it's music, but when you all had initially asked, I was thinking about a new concept that I'm in the process of unfolding that I was gonna bring as
All
the
right, so tell me which one you want we break out. We have 5 minutes.
example is it's an event. It's a monthly event called Soul Lime, which is tailored towards the public that likes to go to events, but since the music climate has shifted so much, they don't party anymore. That's the angle.
Okay.
So they
All
want
right.
to listen to music, upful music, but there aren't places that play it where I am.
So what is the event about, Xavier?
The event is about creating a space for conscious artists to share their music, as well as average people who just looking for a place to kick it, to come and connect. But
Is it a physical space or a digital
physical,
space?
physical space.
So is that feasible at the moment for you to be congregating in a physical space?
No, but the development of the concept is highly feasible. This can last forever. So that's
Well,
the
well, sure, but okay. So let's do this. Can it be something? Can we talk about something that is immediate, something that will have an immediate impact on you right now? Because right now, talking about having a physical event may not be the most feasible thing. No, this may not last forever, sure, but we don't know how long it's gonna last for, and how long after we found a cure that we still have to quarantine until the air clears, basically.
I
So can
valid.
we?
I won't
Right.
waste any more time. Let's do music then.
Okay, so let's go with that. So, and then you say you make more money. That's where you make the majority of your
Yeah,
money. Yes.
music. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's go there.
Okay. So for your music, right? Who would you say is it you appeal to, male, female, or both?
Both, primarily male though.
Okay. So
We're
okay.
going
So
with the primary
going with
audience.
your primary audience now. Okay.
All right. So now we need to drill down and narrow down. What's the age range? You mentioned conscious music,
Yeah.
soul music.
Yeah.
What sort of age range are we looking at? For primary.
The primary, I'll
Mhm.
say 21 to 29. Primary.
Okay.
But more like 21 to 35, if I'm being honest. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. And for these young men, what is
35, not 25, 35.
yeah, 21 to 25.
35.
35. 35.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, had expanded it. Why you move from 29 to 35?
No, he
Because
said 35.
I had said 29 initially because I thought about the reality of what it looks like, as opposed to the category that I accustomed seeing on my Facebook chats.
Okay,
Okay.
Xavier, I'm confused. Monique, are you confused? I'm
So
slightly confused.
So what I would ask for you to do, Xavier, is in looking at a 21-year-old even versus a 35-year-old, those are two very different people,
Age
right?
groups, yeah.
Even if you're following the same person, me at 21 is not me at 35. And what I connect with, though I may even tasted music evolve, because I'm sure some of the things you used to bop to at 21 may not be the same thing that you do at 30 or 35.
But
So
even if, to go a step further than that, he mentioned something that he's seeing on his Facebook. Is this analytics we're talking
It's on
about?
Facebook and Instagram, yeah.
So your analytics on Facebook or Instagram puts your age, your audience age group at what?
which one is bigger?
It's equal running from 21 to 24, I think, and 25 to 29. So both of them are equally large groups. So that's why I said 21 to 29 initially.
Okay. Okay, what I would do is split it
Okay.
because in some of the, even some of the messaging or words that you would use or things that would invigorate the 22-year-old still in college or fresh out of college, 23, 24, first job, kind of, in your entire framing of your message or what you share is going to be different from I have a wife and 2 kids.
Yeah, I can
Even though music is escapism. So find the song may remain the same, but know how you contextualize this for the fresh out of college person versus the married with 2 kids and a master's is going to be different.
Yeah.
All right. So were you working with the younger group or working with the older group?
Let's look really older.
All right. So what to 35?
25. No, yeah, 25, definitely 25 to 25. If that works, that seems like a kind of more feasible group.
It's
Xavier, why does it feel to me like there's an element of guessing going on here?
Well, because I'm thinking about the different groups that I see on different platforms.
What is your primary platform?
Instagram and YouTube is what I look at for the most analytics.
Okay, where do you get where are your majority audience? Which is your bigger platform?
Instagram is a bigger platform.
Okay, so on Instagram, your demographic says what?
I think it's 25 to 29 the way Instagram groups it.
Okay, so Monique, can we just go with the Instagram since that's his biggest touch point? Yeah.
okay. Now for persons who are, and we're just gonna do this quickly, within persons in this age group, what do you think is their overall or average educational level?
A lot of them tertiary.
Didn't hear that.
Tertiary.
A lot of them are studying tertiary level.
They're still studying or they have already studied?
It's both. It depends on what age I would have went, but both of them.
Oh, all right.
Either tertiary or completed or still going through it.
Okay. All right. And now we're delving into occupation. No, we are creating a group, we're creating a niche group, and we're looking at the specific target, right? For this person who is looking at your soul music, connect to something more, looking for something deeper, what sort of occupation would they be invested or involved in?
A lot of them are creatives themselves, entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
A fair amount do forex trading.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So creatives because creatives is still a very wide group. Any common themes popping out?
Yeah, music and musicians, and people involved in fashion.
Okay. And within this industry, occupation, what is their overall salary range?
I'd guess I'd guess somewhere between, if I'm thinking US, maybe anywhere between 300 and like 1,000.
What is that based on, Xavier?
It's based on a rough average of where the creative industry is right now, and where most of I know my followers are in a similar tier.
All All right, do me a favor, Xavier. Is there one particular follower that you can readily identify that you communicate with or engage with a lot on your platform, on your Instagram platform?
Yeah,
Like, do you have any one person in mind that immediately comes to your mind?
I can think about one right now.
Okay, so that particular person, what does that person do?
They play pan.
They play pan, okay. And what do you think their average income is? Is that what they do for a living, or is just that's something that they do creatively?
Nah, that's what they do. They play pan
For a
and
living,
yeah.
okay. And what do you think their average monthly, say for instance, monthly salary is?
I say maybe about $800 a month.
800 US dollars?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, money, there you go.
Okay. Right. And where are they located?
They're located in West Trinidad.
Okay.
Is there a particular community or just that?
Port of Spain.
So question, is this your local community? Is this a community that you're familiar with? Is this where you grew up?
Nah, it's a community I move around it, but not my local community. I live in Tobago.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
So there's some I call it cross pollination happening here. So these are not what we call your peoples. This is not your community that you grew up in. So your music is now reaching a
Transcend.
different community. You
Yeah.
always have the beautiful words, Monique. Transcending into a different community, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right. So this is the beginning. We start out with some of the demographic as well as the geographic information, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Just as an overall go through, because I am watching it 10:35.
But before you finish though, one question, Xavier, why do you think this particular demographic, or this particular group of person, what about your music is so can they relate to so much? What is connecting for them with your music, do you think?
And they struggle for identity and self-identity.
So do you think this particular community of persons are struggling with self-identity? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in various ways. The creative community in Port of Spain, which has like a kind of sizable underground creative scene.
Right.
Yeah, and just understanding the nature of the world we live in. It's something I
Right.
spend a lot of time thinking about. So there's
Okay.
a content about it.
So do you think that they're connecting with you because you are able to really hone in on this? And this is where the pain points would come in.
Yeah,
You're able to hone in at something that is really, Monique said it earlier about the connectivity, honing
yeah,
on something that connects that community together. So you're almost like the Pied Piper. You're the messenger coming to say, guys, believe me, I understand what you're going through. As a creative, I go through the same thing. And you're now producing music that would uplift you. So it uplifts them because there's a common thread. Is that it?
yeah, agreed.
Okay, awesome. So guys, what we just did there is identify a pain point.
Pain point.
And sometimes sometimes the product that you create it because it's a problem that you personally have. So you have come across a problem, as did Xavier, as a creative. And he says he spends a lot of time thinking, this is something that affects me as a creative. So I'm assuming it affects other creatives. And then he understands Port of Spain. He was able to tell you that there's a large underground creative community. This is the vibe. This is the mood of that community. And he's now tapping into that sore point, tapping into that localized issue. Yeah. And he's now able to make music or to create entertainment or create something that it's entertaining for one, but two, the messaging in the music is connecting these people together, so they feel like, one, I'm not alone, there are other person experiencing this, but I can make it. It's not the end of things. I'm just gonna persevere, whatever. I'm assuming that's the kind of music, Xavier. Am I on the right track here?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so this is what we're talking about. So Xavier has managed to identify a problem,
Right.
identify the community that has this particular problem, think through what the problem is because he's personally affected by the same problem,
Yeah.
think through it and create something that they can
Mhm.
all coalesce around. He can build a
Yeah.
community around that message
Yeah.
that he's building out, and that's helping the members of his community to overcome, to get past a block, to move out of a certain mindset and into a different space or whatever. This is a prime example of what we want you guys to do when you're thinking about your audience. Xavier, you may not know it, you may not have realized that you're doing it, but you have connected with your target audience. Clearly you have connected with your target audience. And guys, sometimes you don't know that you're connecting with your target audience either. And going back to the question that Ash Nash asked earlier about how do you know when you're connecting, Xavier is using his analytics on Instagram to tell him that his Instagram is telling him that he's connecting. Xavier is able to identify people who is engaging with a lot. He was in no time, Xavier was like, yeah, that person, because he knows who he's engaging with regularly. And there's a reason why people are engaging with him, because his message is reaching.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a reason why there are people engaging with, and there's a reason why he knows the people that he's engaging with. Is because he's one of those persons. He's
Yeah.
in that community
Can
himself.
see. Yeah. And
He can see the forest for the trees.
And the other thing is
Right?
that the persons or the members of the community can so connect with him because it's not a phony, it's not a fake. He's actually there. He's doing it and he's in the struggle with them.
He
as
understands.
Yes.
He understands because he's one of us. And sometimes, guys, remember we said it's something as subtle as that. And that's why we were talking about the A/B testing earlier, Lloyd. If you're still listening, this would be a good way to test the A/B sample. So because Xavier could be doing the same kind of music that Kadia is doing. Kadia is trying to reach the same set of people, but Kadia may not be a part of that community. But I'm still making music because this is the music that resonates with me, whatever, etc., etc. But the community is not responding because I am not one of them. How
Yeah.
can I possibly understand what they're going through if you've never been through it? I can't relate to you in that way. And people take these things very seriously.
Yeah.
Right. So Xavier may be able to connect more because he's in the struggle with them. He understands this is his everyday life. Trust me, I know, I live it. So they are more responsive to him because they can connect with him on a deeper level. So this is what we're talking about, guys. Identifying pain points, really sitting down and looking at your analytics. Now, Monique K. Moore asks in the Q&A, how do you check analytics on social media platform? K, I don't even know where to begin with you because depending on which social media platform, there are different places where you can check and different analytics that you need to pay attention to. That's a whole different workshop. But if, let's say, Instagram, since Xavier is on Instagram, Monique, do you want to
I
go on a break, and then when we come back,
I would love to pause.
right. So we're gonna pause, guys, and when we come back, I don't know if Monique will be so obliged to show you quickly how you check your analytics on Instagram. Right. But thank you so much,
What
Xavier.
what I possibly can do is just, and I'm literally gonna Google and share a link with you.
Right. So Alberta says, Monique comments, I think it is interesting that Xavier is able to reach across to an audience that resides in a different locality. He has the same lived experience. Exactly. He's transcending borders. I don't want to speak to how it is in Trinidad because certainly I don't have first-hand information. But what I do know is that there are different communities. There are different ethnic communities in Trinidad and Tobago. And there are different communities in terms of as the word Alberta used, there are different localities and they respond to different things. So for him to be able to reach across certain divides and connect with people, because people, you see, the lived experience is something where no matter color, race, whatever, the lived experience is something, especially as Caribbean people,
Yeah.
there's a connectivity that we all have as Caribbean people because we have the same kind of background, especially Anglophone Caribbean, which means the English-speaking Caribbean. We are all products, or we have all been shaped by colonialism, right? So we have similar backgrounds, we have similar cultural structures, we have similar legal, governmental structures. So there are things that connect us, but even within these individual states, right? Things
There are
differ and different. I just have to give you all the words, nuances. All right. So thank you so much, Xavier and Monique. Over to you.
It is ultimately, it's basically quarter to
Yes.
11. We're gonna go for 10 minutes. Let's come back at 5.
No, we said 15.
Yeah, but we ran over the entire break time. So we only have 10 minutes because I have a whole lot more to share with you when we come back. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming back. And for many of you, literally just staying on, I hope you got an opportunity to, all right, to grab something to drink, grab a quick snack so that you have it close by, get a pen, or even just to think about what we would have been sharing over the past hour and change, almost 2 hours. All right, guys, so our time frame is limited, so I just wanted to quickly, Katie, I think you mentioned that there were some questions on here. So
yeah,
within
there are some Q&As. Do you want to quickly take those?
Yes, let's work through that.
Okay, Kay Moore says, how do you check analytics on social media? Do you want to leave that for the Q&A after class session?
Right, and then we can just drop a link.
Okay, good. And she also says, what are some options to use to create a brand logo on your own? Okay, I'm not sure what that means. Do you mean tools? Not sure. But we have a raised hand from Leslie and Beckles. Do you want to take a raised hand quickly?
Sure, let's take Leslie.
Okay, before then, Princess Onika Augusta says, does analytics on your platform translate to monetary support often? Princess, I'm not even sure how to unpack that question. The answer is no, but understanding your analytics and being able to read your analytics and what your analytics is telling you, you'll be in a better position to create content that is really connecting with your audience, and you can monetize certain platforms, or you can start monetizing some of your content. I hope that helps, but this is a whole nother conversation.
Or by virtue of understanding what your audience responds to, you can resonate with them, and that would make them be more inclined to buy
from you.
Buy from you.
Yeah.
It's not a direct, because right now, off the top of my head, YouTube, through the ads or whatever, you get money back to you, but that doesn't happen on Instagram, that don't happen on Facebook, that doesn't happen on TikTok. It's through deals or other things, other work that you do that you actually earn from. Or if you have a product or service that people are buying from you, that's how the money comes in, not particularly from the platform itself.
Right. And we would have to understand, Princess, what you mean by monetary support.
Yeah, because monetary support is different.
It's a different thing than monetization, right? So, Leslie Ann, you are on. Please unmute and let's go. Leslie Ann Beckles.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi, I raised my hand by an error.
Okay. All right. No more. Okay, so Kay Moore says, yes, tools, my apologies. There are lots of free platforms online, Kay, that you can create your brand logo on. You may not get the same kind of quality as others, but it's just a graphic. You can use Canva to create a logo, or PowerPoint, or Photoshop, or any one of these graphics tools to create your own logo, depending on your level of competency there in using these tools. Guys, let me tell you, reiterate again, for some of these things, there are no shortcuts. And I wouldn't even be so focused on my brand logo right now. I'll be focusing on making sure that I have a product that will solve a particular problem that I would have
Yeah.
identified.
And then you actually understand your brand.
I understand my brand. I know who I'm talking to. I know why I'm talking to these group of people.
Yes.
And that is more important than even your brand, a logo for your brand. Okay. All right. So Alberta says, I'm hearing a lot about Canva, but I've not visited. Where have you been, Alberta? Canva is mashing up the place. Right, Canva is for non-designers. They have templates that you can use, that you can just really change out the information and put your information. It is such a easy learning curve to use Canva. I mean, it is probably one of the best digital content tools, content creation tools or resources for non-designers out there, because the templates are really nice.
And
Alberta, just literally just Google Canva. We don't need to post a link. Just Google Canva, Canva. Okay, that's it. The templates are nice, they're easy to use, and if you follow Canva on Instagram, they give you all the sauce, all the tips that you could ever need to create your own unique kind of content. And there's also what I will drop for you, Alberta, is a link to a YouTube channel that's called Canva Tutorials, and let me tell you, they teach you everything you need to know about using the Canva tools for beginners. Now, there are two levels. There's a paid and there's a free version. Some things you can do in free, some things you can't. All right, but we use a free version, so don't even stress it. But get into it, Alberta. There's no other Q&A questions at the moment or raised hand, Monique, so I think you can
go ahead. All right, guys. So we continue today's segment by looking at competitor scouting. Now, you'd have heard me talk a little bit earlier about literally looking at what your competitors are doing within the online space, see what's happening. But why should you spy on your competition? You're not them. Now, scouting, competitor scouting helps you to track and monitor what's happening within your industry, within your field, what's going on. It's also a great way for you to be able to get some ideas. So it's not copy and paste. You're saying, yeah, you're stealing, but you're not stealing, right? You are understanding the elements, you're understanding the tone, you're understanding the perspective they came from, you're understanding how they did this, and then now you are seeing the ways that you can work this in based on your own brand. All of these things are customized based on your brand, who your audience is, all of that, right? Based on the content that they are posting or not posting. So maybe you realize that everybody and their mother is talking about using a ballpoint pen, but you in your lineup, you don't just do ballpoint pens, you also do gel pens and colors and etc., right? So you can start talking about these nuances, these things that help to make you different, these different areas that nobody else is doing, right? So this is why you need to, like, even for those of you who are looking for ideas right now, you're trying to scout and figure out, how do I, where do I, those questions, you can get some insights from your competition. Now, as a disclaimer, may I repeat it, I'm not telling you to copy and paste your competitor, right? But what we said, you identify the themes, what's happening, how are they using this, and then incorporate it within your own system. Now, we touched on it a while ago, but a gap analysis, I know I need to pull it out for you. So a gap analysis is where you do a bit of a market or industry research, the same competitor analysis, yeah, that's a part of it. You can find out where the demands for your audience, because you understand them, are not being met, and then know where you can run in like a shining star You can showcase your expertise, you can share your products, your services, you can provide your talents and fill the gap. So you can literally see where there's a gap in the market and you can stand in that gap. Right, so you want to conduct a gap analysis as a part of your building out of your digital infrastructure. So now we're looking at the various digital marketing channels and their strategies. So the first session of the first segment of today's session really wanted to help you guys understand the foundations and the tenets. So now we can start picking up the pace in going through the different areas. So your digital marketing strategy is where you now focus your marketing plan. So you have an overall marketing plan. And now this is the focus on the online elements of your brand building efforts. And now, how do you determine this? How do you come up with what these are? These are all based on your goals and objectives. What are you trying to accomplish as a business, a brand, individual company? Nothing that you do, whether it's online or otherwise, is supposed to be arbitrary. It's not just posting a picture because I haven't posted anything in the past 2 weeks. It's literally about now you're focusing your efforts based on what your general goals and objectives are for your business, right? So now, what are these elements that are included in your digital strategy? Now, in order to build a digital strategy, we'll have to do a bit of a background and show you what these different elements and these different platforms that you can use would include. So you would look at the digital landscape and see what you want to, where you fit in, where you want to pick, choose, and stand in that space. So now we have social media. That's one. Literally all the social media that you can think of, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, all of those is just one category. They're just one category out of the plethora of digital channels. You also have your website. Now, I know as a part of the Catapult grant, there was the opportunity for you to get a credit towards the creation of a website for your individual company. So the website, your home, your digital home, the space that you own online, because Facebook can decide tomorrow that they don't want to push things from the Caribbean anymore, or they don't want to push your particular sphere or industry of things and limit your reach just because of the algorithm, all right? So your website is very important as your digital home. The content that you share on these different platforms, email is the top converting digital platform. Email is not dead. Email is underutilized within our space, but email drives action. And we can use influencer marketing. So this list is not exhaustive by any stretch of the imagination, but these are some of the digital elements that you can start incorporating within your entire plan and strategy. So to get a better understanding too, we can look at social media marketing. Now, for social media, we're looking at using content on social networks naturally to promote your brand, capture and filter leads. Now, leads are just people who are interested in your product, brand, service, whatever. And you're channeling them into a more robust sales funnel. So we're going to deal with a sales funnel. right? You are attracting them and directing them elsewhere. Now, for you to direct them elsewhere, they need to have somewhere else to go, which is when we talked about the website and when we talked about email being so important. This is why they're so important, right? And I would have alluded earlier to say that social media platforms, you can do so much and no more. So these would include areas, platforms like your website, your email, or your storefront. In dealing with a digital strategy, you can't do digital strategy without discussing goals. Now, your goals should also be SMART. And this is an acronym that it would be very important for you guys to remember. So you start framing your goals using the SMART methodology. Now, SMART goals standing for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. SMART goal setting creates verifiable trajectories, meaning you know where you're going. You can always go back and check to see whether I'm on track or not. That's the whole purpose of the SMART goal. With clear milestones, and an estimation of the goal's attainability. So built into the SMART goal is you saying, hey, is this possible? Can this be reached within this timeline? How realistic or how relevant is this to whatever it is that I am doing, right? Every goal or objective from intermediary step, so from your start, to overarching objective, to the whole reason why you exist, can be made SMART, and by virtue of doing so, closer to being real. So social media, when we look at social media, we're looking at modern communication platforms that allow users to instantly share content, build network, and form virtual communities. So these are the platforms we are very familiar with. Now we're looking at some of the other digital platforms. So what are websites? Now, your website is a collection of publicly accessible, so people can find you, interlinked web pages that share a single domain name. So the domain name is a www dot. That information that comes right after that, that's your domain name, right? So digitaldisruptionagency.com, the digitaljamaica.com, that's your domain name. And the series of pages that are interlinked, maybe your about us page, your contact us page, your services, those different areas, right? So that's your website. Then we have website marketing. Now, in order to get persons to your website, so great, you've now built a website and you love it and it looks great. You have to market your website. Now, marketing your website deals with you are specifically diving into lead generation. So you are attracting people who are interested in your product or service, in purchasing from you, right? And website marketing relies heavily on certain keywords. Now, we could do a whole workshop on search engine optimization, which is basically the process that search engines like Google, like Bing, like Yahoo use to show you the most relevant searches. So literally when you're going to Google and you type in digital marketing in the Caribbean and you see digital disruption agency coming up, that would be the use of both keywords and good search engine optimization, as well as other channels like your social media to drive traffic. So we're seeing the different elements kind of come together. the social media that a lot of us are very familiar with on a casual user basis, we're converting that into a more professional approach, and that includes driving traffic to our website. Okay, so what is content? I'm glad you asked. So Kevin Kane, content marketing and communication strategist, says content is a compilation of information, ideas, and messages that are translated into some kind of written, visual, or audible format for others to consume. Other people are consuming it. Other people are gaining insight, information, value from this photo, video, blog, etc., 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 piece of audio, podcast that you have created. So I wanted to take a look here at Lexon Art. He is a Jamaican photographer. He describes himself as an artist, writer, film director, and he shares the different publications that he has been featured in. So I did a quick look through his platform, and we're just gonna go through some of these areas, right? So for his content, Adrian, as an artist, a visual artist, communicates a lot through just his photos, through the concepts that he shares. In addition, he's gone a step further to contextualize this information by sharing a lot of poetry that he himself has also written that provides deeper context for the different images that he shares. But I think one of the main elements that we can always take away from it, his art, is that the very photos communicate, even without the caption, communicate something so profound to the community. For example, this last one here, literally within the image, you see pregnant woman, and what you are assuming, us as an audience, we're assuming is the child's father, contemplating, and there's a little bit of worry, a little bit of contemplation with his hand against his mouth. She's sleeping peacefully, and you see the love in her loving caress of the belly, but he's contemplating, and then now the caption elucidates and brings out that entire point. I've had many thoughts about being a father, and literally you see a little bit of anxiety, but it's all in love, you know. So there are messages that are communicated with your audience, right? So content is supposed to attract your customer. No, please note that within Lexon Arts Adrian's entire feed, not once have we seen, book me now, I'm your photographer, you know, and if you want photos like this, no. He has reached a point, he has reached a point within his community that, as well as because of his consistency, how well and how often he has been sharing and engaging his community, he's literally pulling you in with his content. He's literally showcasing to you, this is what I do, and this is how exceptional I am at capturing a moment, at communicating a message through photos. And so it's a no-brainer. If I want a creative concept, if I want a creative shoot, if I want to communicate an intricate message using a photo, then I want to use you. There's the same thing that you want to do with your content. Now, content refers to what you create. Now, a content marketing strategy is a lot bigger than that. This is the overarching umbrella now that shapes what you share and what you communicate. So your strategy directs content that is specifically created for a defined group, your target group, your customer profile. And the goal may be building brand awareness, generating leads, or driving sales. Now, the example that I pulled for here is Bridget Hyacinth. Now, Bridget is a Trinidadian, and I would say one of the leading persons from the Caribbean, if not the biggest, a female, definitely, voice from the Caribbean on LinkedIn. Now, Bridget is an HR professional and she is an author, like as you would see here, author of Leading the Workforce of the Future and a keynote speaker. Now, within this context of COVID, of people working from home, of remote working and telecommuting, she put a poll on LinkedIn. Do you prefer working from home or working from the office, or a mix of both? Now, for a random person, if I was to post that, it may be a little random, but because Bridget is her field, her home, her zone of genius, her space of excellence is within human resources, this is right up her alley. This is right up her street. And so her community of people who either are looking for opportunities themselves or professionals within different spaces looking for human HR advice, etc., can come here. Now, Bridget has over 3 million subscribers, followers on LinkedIn. And we see the kind of engagement here. I caught this vote in the middle of it. It had 130,000 persons who would have engaged with it, who would have voted, and almost 6,000 likes and over 1,000 comments on one LinkedIn poll. Now, I deliberately pulled Bridget because within these different spaces, a lot of the time we think that it's a foreign, somebody from America or from the UK or some big country like that dominates online. Bridget is dominating. She's dominating, and this is a Caribbean girl, you know? So definitely wanted to share that. Another very important digital platform, we're talking about email. So now we understand that we use email almost every day, and it can be that you're sending information to specified individuals or somebody specific, or you send it to a group. Email is a very intimate form of communication because now I can personalize information just for you. I can connect with you because you would have been interested in learning social media. I can connect with you specifically because you expressed an interest in learning about creating your own pieces of content. I can communicate an individual personalized message just for you via email. That's the power of email, especially when we compare to our social media networks. Highly personalizable, highly intimate, and should be designed just for you. Right? Now, within your email marketing strategy, the whole point of an email strategy is, yes, you're promoting your brand, your product, or your service, but the crux of the matter is developing relationships with whether it's actual or potential customers or your clients. So now we take a look at influencer marketing, right? When we're using influencer marketing, we're talking about someone endorsing it may be product placement done by particular experts within different fields. They may be experts, they may be opinion leaders, persons with social influence in a specific space, right? So that is very, very important. So here we have Lexi and her handle just Lexi Simple, and a quick run through that I would have done of her platform. Now, these are different features of brand collaborations that she would have done with different brands, etc. Right? To show how influencer marketing. Lexi is Jamaican, right? How in the Caribbean, we are using different platforms, including Instagram, to share or showcase our expertise. Now, when you're looking at choosing an influencer, somebody to help promote your artisanal soap or your product, service, whatever, it's very important for you to understand who this person is and who their community is. Not everybody who has a big following is an ideal influencer for you or your brand. It also doesn't mean that their virtues or values or what they believe in is the same as you. So that's something that you really have to pay attention to. On both ends, if you're looking to do something within influencer marketing or you're looking to engage an influencer. So for Alexa, I know she's very selective about who she works with. So if you look here within this influencer box that she would have featured, she's made it her own, and it actually fits in when we looked back at her entire aesthetic in terms of her entire feed. It actually fit in to the entire feed. It connects and resonates right back to everything else that she would have shared or showcased on her page, right? So you really want to make sure that who it is that you are using as an influencer advances your brand and not the opposite. And to mention, we have apps as well. There are 2.2 million apps on the App Store and 2.8 million on the Google Play Store. These are opportunities, whether it is for you to share or showcase your information on already existing apps. And a very select few of you may actually be interested in using apps within your own business. It's not something I would recommend for everybody. Apps are expensive, and you would have to understand why an application is the best digital platform for you to connect and resonate with your audience before going here. Okay, so now we're at the point where we're talking about building a digital sales funnel. So the digital sales funnel is also called or referred to as the buyer's journey. No, the buyer's journey is this process that somebody, your customer, your user, goes through so that they become aware of, evaluate, and purchase new products or services from you, right? So this is the process that they go through. And it starts with awareness, then goes into interest, consideration, conversion, and retention. Now we're gonna go into each of these different elements in more detail. I'm going to close out this section, guys, and there is a quick section at the end too, where I do a very brief overview of the different social media platforms. just to give you an introduction, because I know there's a social media section, a deep dive within social media in tomorrow's session. Jackie can tell us a little later if slots are still open for that, but I'll just do a quick introduction to the different platforms, and then we can take some additional questions. So as questions come up for you, you can drop them in the Q&A. Kadia will be answering whatever she thinks needs further ventilation. We will discuss live. Okay, so that's the buyer's journey. And the buyer's journey, or the sales funnel, the reason why it's dubbed a funnel is because it literally looks like a funnel. Large up at the top, so stage 1 happens up here, right? So in stage 1, you have a lot of people who you may want to become aware that you exist. So the awareness stage is where your customer learns about you, learns about your product or service. And so this touches in with the problem, the touch points, the pain points, and the areas. And they may say, oh, okay, you exist to solve this problem. Stage 2, we're moving down on the funnel. So number 1, awareness. Now we're further down within interest, right? In the interest phase, you are now looking at Google. Maybe you're browsing on my website, or you're checking out my social media. And so you're interested, you're looking at what exists. You're window shopping here, right? Now, stage 3, your customer or potential customer has moved to consideration. Now here, they're looking and comparing you versus your competitor. You're ascertaining which option or which, who is better, right? And once they've considered and gone through their consideration process, and they have made a decision to buy, they may not have bought yet, but they've made a decision to buy from you. This is the conversion stage. So this is also the stage where somebody has taken a particular action. So whether that action, again, the actions are completely customized by your specific goals or objectives. That action may look like signing up for your email list. It may look like following you on social media. It may look like visiting your website. It may look like buying something from you, right? So at this stage is a conversion stage. They're either part of your community, they're a subscriber, they are on your website, or they have bought something from you, right? So now they are part of your ecosystem, because now you're a hot lead. You are definitely interested in what I have to offer, and I just have to share something that resonates with you for you to buy from me. And then now we have the retention phase. Now the action comes back to us as the digital producers, as the people who want to share information with these people online. This is talking about the after sales experience. Now, this is the difference between making 1 sale or making 5 sales, or having a customer for life. It's how you treat people after the transaction. And we understand this as Caribbean people. We really do understand this, but we get it within a personal, I see you, yes, Mass Rosie, yes, and you have this person, but this translates it's very important, and it's actually critical when we look at the digital space. You have to be engaging your customer even after they have converted with you, because you want them to not just buy once, you want them to buy more than once, over and over again. So we're going to touch on content just a bit, and it starts out with the different types of content. So we have topical content, which is relevant for this moment in time, and it also attracts a lot of attention within that short time span. So it has a very limited time span, but a lot of people are on it. And then we have our evergreen content that's now relevant over a prolonged period of time, and it generates more traffic over time, right? So your topical content, some time ago, a very good example of this was when the internet went crazy around Rihanna being Jamaican. It was a joke and something that's actually went viral. It reached international media, that because of a Twitter conversation and hashing out between a Bayesian and a Jamaican. The Jamaican felt offended by something the Bayesian said, and because they were talking about our foreign exchange rates and how high our exchange rate is, the Jamaican decided, okay, you're going to dogmouth us. We're going to take Rihanna because international media and people don't even know. They think the Caribbean is in Africa. So if we tell them that Rihanna is Jamaican, they're going to believe us. And so it was trending. It reached international press and media. That would be a great example of topical content. Viral, funny in a moment, may not be funny, but gets a lot of attention in this moment. Whereas evergreen content is something that you can always come back to. It's top 10 places to visit in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's something that you can always revisit. It's relevant today, tomorrow, and next year. Right now, Rihanna is Jamaican. If you said like, okay, right? So that's the difference between topical and evergreen content. Now, we talked about your brand image and perception earlier. Now we're going into your personality because layers, right? And the question is, what story do you want to tell? Your brand personality comes out in every aspect of what you communicate or what you don't. It includes things like your choice of words, your tone, and delves into your unique selling proposition, right? So here in this example, we have Joel Namdarkam, and he's a digital marketer, and he represents Yellow Media Group, which is all over the Caribbean, right? And as a part of his brand, the corporate eccentric for short, he uses his quirky, cool kind of vibe. So you see this is a guy, a shocking pink background, striped black and white socks with bananas on it, and caption 6'3" of quirkiness, right? So yes, he's professional. Yes, he provides value within the digital space in its other posts, but he's literally showing his personality within this one. So what is your brand personality? What would your brand sound like? Who is your brand? Right? So content personalization, we would have talked a little bit about it within email, is the powerful process of using different content at different stages of the buying process to be hyper relevant to the right user at the right time. Now, this is a crux of the matter when we're talking about the digital sales funnel, because the purpose of it is not that I'm going to see the same exact thing on your website, your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your email. I mean, there's a certain level of consistency where branding is concerned. It may be talking about the same workshop, topic, theme, but how and what I'm saying to you within these different platforms is supposed to be different. And this happens through personalization. Now, based on the different stages that we would have gone through a while ago, from awareness, if somebody is just becoming aware of you, you would talk to them different from somebody who is has been a part of your community for some period of time and they're primed to buy from you. They've been sitting in consideration and now you just need them to convert. So personalization happens at a funnel level. It also happens at a platform level. And these two areas can actually be engaged and intertwined. That's actually the suggestion, or what I would encourage you to do. So that's why the painstaking process of going through the different digital platforms, understanding the digital funnel so that we can fuse and merge those two together. Now, choosing an integrated approach using these different digital platforms, and also integrated approach where we're talking about traditional, because we're not telling you to run away and desert and not do any traditional marketing. Of course, there are aspects or areas of it that are effective, that work for different audiences, but by virtue of you choosing, it's your choice, an integrated approach, you can now be hyper relevant. So where people are, you show them the messages that they are most likely to take, and that the action you want them to take based on research. And research is the name of the game. So you'd have heard us talk about Digital Jamaica, the digital disruption agency's sister brand. And I wanted to give you an idea or a real life working example of what I mean with making your content relevant for these different platforms. So there is Kimberly, I see your hand. I'm going to go through the information, like I said, and then we take the questions afterwards. We have a little segment while everyone is completing their different tasks and stuff. So I see your hand, all right? So Digital Jamaica, right? And if you want, you can drop the question in the Q&A and then we can come to you and talk to you, okay? All right, so Digital Jamaica, this is a podcast episode, one single podcast episode with a food blogger called Janelle Golding. She deals with Jamaican food and she's a travel blogger, right? But if we look all the way to the left of my screen, what we posted on Instagram, sorry, I accidentally clicked that. Okay, what we posted on Instagram was the primary image associated with the post. It's something that she creates and it looks so beautiful. Because of the features of Instagram being so visual, that was fitting for that platform. Then now if we move on to the website, surprisingly good Jamaican vegan grub with Janelle Golding, food and travel blogger, right? And so now this captures more detail, more information. I can use surprisingly good Jamaican vegan grub, you know, food and travel blogger. And there's a different orientation to the image, you know, it looks and feels great. Also, the podcast is embedded there on the blog, on the website, right? And the copy now goes into some more detail about the food and, you know, how it looks, And if we go over now, this is Google Podcast, right? The image or how it looks within Google Podcast. Janelle Golding, surprisingly good Jamaican vegan grub, right? So a slightly different variation of the same title or heading. In this episode, I had a tete-a-tete with Janelle Golding, creator of From the Comfort of My Bowl and Surprisingly Sweet JA Foodie platforms, where she introduces her largely Jamaican audience to delicious, hearty, Jamaican-inspired vegan comfort meals and desserts. So one podcast episode, one. And from that one piece of content, we were able to create multiple other pieces of content to support. Now, when I was talking about doing things to drive traffic to your own platforms, we're using, in this example, we're using Instagram to drive people to our website. We're using Instagram to drive people to listen to the podcast episode, right? And even within the podcast itself, if you found a podcast via your favorite player, whether it's Google Podcasts or Spotify or Apple, any one of them, right? It still has links to our blog, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Still leading back, still building that level of community, still integrating your message. It's one message. We have a podcast episode on why you listen to it and how we funneled that in, right? So digital marketing, benefit of it is that it allows for accurate targeting, content personalization, and reporting. Now, in using digital marketing, you can avoid irrelevant messaging, meaning by targeting your specific group of persons, you are not telling somebody who doesn't care about soap, or artisanal soap. You don't have to talk to that person. Unlike in traditional marketing, if you run an ad at 7 p.m. on channel 1, everybody watching channel 1 at 7 p.m. is going to see your message. With social media, with digital marketing, you can choose persons who are interested in handmade items, someone who would have visited my website in the past 30 days, persons who follow brands like Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secret and Calvin Klein or Tommy Hilfiger or some of those very Versace, some of the very popular perfumers or soap and body care and self-care brands that you can retarget based on their own interests and desires. So your messaging does not go to irrelevant persons. No, I said you can. It doesn't mean that all posts and stuff on digital do this, but digital allows you the capability to do that through their advertising mainly. And it also allows for tweaks. So if you posted a newspaper ad and the newspaper print and you realize that there's a typo, there's no going back. With social, you can put out a post and realize, oh no, I made an error, and you can tweak it. So in the just under 15 minutes that we have left, I'm just going to do a quick, brief overview of the different social media platforms, since we would have gone through in a general sense some of these various areas before, so that we can get a better understanding of what's happening on these different platforms. And this is a primer for tomorrow's session. Kashan from Poitier Group, I think, is dealing with that session, and she will go into a lot more detail within these different areas, right? Or she has her own system built out. Now, Facebook has over 2.38 billion with a B users around the globe, and almost 1 million monthly users in Jamaica. Some of the pieces of content that really shine on Facebook include long form content, causes and current events, groups. Now, groups is a huge reason why Facebook is still a huge contender. Instructional videos, the fact that you can do long form videos on Facebook. Facebook also is great for asking and having your community ask you questions and for you to share user generated content. Now, Facebook is still the heavyweight champ, especially in the Western world. Where social media is concerned. I did a quick look just to check back on stat counter before we started, and I will share with you some of the generally overall. Facebook is by far the largest platform. I looked at Barbados, for example, and in terms of market share, 53.43% of social media market share still belongs to Facebook in 2020. In Jamaica, that figure is 51.08, and that's according to StatCounter. And those are 2020 statistics. Okay, so Instagram has 1 billion monthly users around the world. And on IG short form video content rules, you can get up to 1 hour via IGTV integration. And if you have a certain number of followers, for the rest of us regular folk, it's a little less than that. It's a highly visual platform and it's effective for being able to create a bit of a virtual portfolio so people can see what it is that you are talking about, and for creating eye-catching content. All right, now we have LinkedIn. LinkedIn has 300 million users around the world, and on LinkedIn, long-form content wins. You can talk about articles, videos, case studies. You can go deeper within your particular area of expertise, right? Inspirational stories. People love to hear how you overcame or how you mitigated a certain thing that befell other people within your industry, how you identified certain niches or groups or whatever, and you can showcase your expertise. LinkedIn is a space where you can talk about what you do without feeling self-conscious. And you can drop as many humble brags as you want, and you can share some of the sauce behind what you do, right? Pinterest. Now, I thought that this was very interesting that Pinterest is the second most popular social media platform, definitely in Jamaica, but as well in Barbados and in many other Caribbean countries. So the stats for Jamaica for Pinterest, right after Facebook, is the second most popular social media platform. No, Pinterest is a mix of a social media platform and a search engine. But the market share for Pinterest is 25.85% in Jamaica, and for Barbados is 28.67%. I know that a lot of us, when we're thinking social media, we don't think Pinterest. You need to, especially for us as creatives, especially for those of you who are creating physical products, to get people onto your website, to get ranked on Google and the different search engines so that people can see you. Pinterest is a great way to get there. Pinterest is a super visual platform and it can help to drive traffic to your website. It is super important and useful for physical crafts, and it helps you to establish authority within the creative space. It's very DIY and instructional friendly. And so in creating authority within the space, a lot of persons have the misconception that if I show people how to do what I do, they'll make it and they won't buy it. No, they won't. 99.999999999% of them will not do it because they saw the work and the effort. Even if they went out and bought some of the materials to do it, most of the people who went out and bought the stuff won't do it still, right? So you are using the space to help you establish your authority and show that you are the best at what you do within the space. Okay? And it is super DIY and instructional friendly. Pinterest. Twitter has 330 million monthly active users every day. 145 million with an M people use Twitter. Twitter is great for short, text-based content. Industry and thought leaders use it, people who are heads within their space, and you can use Twitter to very easily start or join relevant conversations, stuff you want to be involved in. YouTube, even though YouTube is not a social media platform, YouTube is a proper search engine. We included it here because we know that a lot of creatives, Xavier, for example, would use YouTube, even artisans to showcase their work, how you do what you do and creating your different things. YouTube is a great platform to use. YouTube has 2 billion users worldwide and is the second largest search engine in the world. Now, that feat is not a small feat because the largest one is its parent brand, Google, right? YouTube is great for long form video content. You can access many different audiences on YouTube. One of the very important things about YouTube is you have to know your audience on YouTube. You have to on all the different platforms, but definitely so that you can niche down, you can dial into their desires and what they need. Instructional videos work, behind the scenes content really shine on YouTube. And guys, that is the end of our presentation for today. The digital marketing for creatives. Really wanted to get through the bulk of the information so that everyone would be able to, get the details that we would have shared. No, very important to this process is that you stay on board to do the give the feedback so that we can actually know how we serve your community and other communities related to you, other creatives, how we do this again, and the quiz, the mini quiz, so that we have an idea of how you received the information that was shared. Very quickly, Kadia, what are the questions that we have going in the chat?
Okay. All right. So let's start with the chat. Okay, so Alberta is asking who owns Pinterest is independently owned. It's not owned by Google or Facebook, although I'm sure they wish they did. And probably soon own it too because they have a tendency to buy out their competitors. Okay. Will we get access to this PowerPoint? No, you won't get access to the PowerPoint, but I'm certain Kingston Creative will make the recording available to you at some point, and afterwards when Jackie comes back on, she can tell you when and where you can find past recordings. So Alberta was asking for clarity. The last platform, Alberta, was a Google Podcast. It's a podcast platform. All right, hope that helps. The audience map questionnaire was shared. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but what we will do, Kimberly, is that we have the audience persona worksheet that we give to participants, so you can work on it to build your audience persona. Somebody said they missed the Twitter slide. Not sure if we're gonna have time to go over it, Shelley, unfortunately, but let's get to some of the questions in the Q&A. K Moore asks, how do I create a website for free? K Moore, that's a discussion for another workshop. Unfortunately, so many ways I could address that question. But if you want a really quality website, chances are free websites don't necessarily work, but there's Wix, there's Weebly, there's Google, all of them offer you free websites. Literally that question that you drop here, just drop it in Google and look for the results that come up, all right? Ramona McLean says, what do you think about using WhatsApp versus email, considering persons have their phone in hand most times? Well, persons have their email on their phone, right? But the
It may not
question,
be, it may not be an or, it may be
either
an
or,
and.
yes.
Because just like how you would use different social media platforms in different ways, you would use a slightly different message. Whereas you can send a long or detailed or give some more juice and some more information within an email, a WhatsApp message is not going to give you all of that. If somebody send you a paragraph on WhatsApp, you more roll your eyes rather than say, oh, what's this? You know? So
And
they're two different platforms.
two different ways of communicating. And with WhatsApp is more everyday, staying in touch. It's more keeping in touch, keeping people engaged. It's more of an engagement style platform. Email is engagement too, except with email you can do a lot more. You can do, we were having a discussion, Monique, in the chat with Alberto, where I was explaining to her the soft sell approach on social media. It's that same kind of thing with email. You have their personal contact. The fact that you have it means they would have probably given it to you at some point, which means these persons are already primed. With WhatsApp, they're probably not already primed. They probably
Right.
WhatsApp to you and you save their numbers, or in whatever way. It's just two
Call
different
your
forms
message.
of, yeah, and how you use your WhatsApp would be different from how you use your email as well. Ramona has a follow-up question. Could you
One
also
second too, before you go in there, Jackie, I'm gonna encourage you. You can drop the links because I don't want persons to leave before doing the evaluation, etc. You
Sorry,
can.
let me do, I'll do that now.
So guys, the links for both the evaluation, the quiz and the feedback form will be in the chat while we are here and we're talking, because I know persons would have raised their hands. While we're doing that, you can actually be completing your quiz
all
and the
right.
feedback form.
Yes. Kmore, there is no way you're going to get a free website and a free domain name. That doesn't work, because in the chat, somebody's explaining to Kay, Monique, that she can try WordPress. With
Right.
any one of these free tools that you're using to create a website, they're going to have their branding on it. You're not going to have an independent domain name. You have to pay for
For
an
it.
independent domain name. You have to
Yes.
pay for hosting that domain, and for a server to direct that domain, to connect that domain and direct to your website. So you're not going to get it for completely free. So WordPress is going to have WordPress at the end of it, and it's going to have WordPress written all over your website. So is Wix, so is Weebly, so is Google. There's no free when it comes to that, except you can have a free platform that you can use with their branding all over it. All right.
Yeah.
The worksheets will be emailed to you, Angelique. They're not, well, we're sending you some worksheets. That's what we're gifting to you. I'm not sure what other materials Kingston Creative will have to send out to you. All right, so Ramona, follow-up question was, could you also show screen before influencer market? Oh God, so sorry, Ramona, we're already so far past that. But when you watch the replay, you can take your time and go through and see. Alberta said, how is an influencer different from a sponsorship endorsement? Short answer, it is not. It's just a different type. And because it's a digital platform, Alberta, different rules kind of apply. But we tell persons that digital influencers are almost like digital brand ambassadors. It's
Yeah.
the same thing, but they're so much more involved in just picking somebody and giving them some money to do something. Digital influencers are like gatekeepers to a particular segmentation, audience segmentation that you're trying to get your brand in front of. Now, remember how digital platforms actually work. Monique has been saying it right throughout. You have a message, and that message is resonating. Let's go back to Xavier. Xavier has a message for a particular community that is resonating with his community. If you want to get a foothold into that community, you may have to go to Xavier and say, hey, Xavier, let's do something together so you can introduce me as a trusted person, a trusted brand, a trusted company to this audience that you have, because I have something that will benefit them, or I have something that will solve some of their problems. So in that way, Xavier is acting, and the Pied Piper example come back in, because Xavier is the message bearer, the ambassador for that community. And to get to that community, because they already trust Xavier, because he's already an insider, to get to them, he has to be the one to introduce you to them, because they trust him. So anything he says, they'll more than likely acquiesce to. So that's kind of how it works with digital influencers. It's no different from using a celebrity to promote toothpaste.
Yeah.
It's no different. The celebrity, there's already a perception that you know the celebrity already has a brand identity, and the perception around that identity is that this is a nice guy, this is an honest person. If he says Colgate toothpaste all whitening is the best toothpaste in the world, I'm probably going to buy Colgate toothpaste, because there's already this perception that you know the person, that you and the person is friend. You probably don't know nothing about the person, but that's the perception of the brand identity, right? So it's basically the same thing, just in a digital format. Oh God,
Okay.
Albert has a lot of questions.
Yes.
Alberta, I know you have a lot of questions, but let us take a question from somebody else. Anonymous says, please don't forget me. I want to delve into the creative digital space as a novice. What steps could I take have full inclusion? Okay, Anonymous, I think Kingston Creative had answered that question and told you to private message them with your contact details, and they will get in touch with you, because they need more information that what we can that you can than what you can provide here. They're going to need to ask you some other questions. This is not just something that we can answer off the top of our heads, because it may
Yeah.
it just prove
It's for you.
irrelevant to you. So
Yeah.
please reach out directly to Kingston Creative so they can properly address that question. This is kind of not the forum for that particular question. Okay, so sorry about that. Bradley says, recently I realized that Facebook has merged Instagram and Facebook into Facebook Business Suite, where you can manage both accounts from one interface. Well, it's not recent. This is
Yeah.
just an evolved version of the Creator Suite that they already have. And
Mhm.
if you had already have Facebook Business Manager, Bradley, you could have already managed the two platforms from this. In fact, I am looking at Facebook Business Suite, and I'm not seeing any significant difference between Facebook Business Suite and Facebook Business Manager, except it looks different. It's a little bit snazzier, it's a little bit streamlined, but there isn't any significant difference as far as I'm concerned. But I think why Facebook has come with the Business Suite, guys, and this is something that you would have noticed, Bradley, and anybody else listening, is that since COVID, social media platforms they are evolving to take on more business relevant features, because they realize that businesses have been mass migrating to social media platforms. Some of them are pivoting, some of them are trying to stay afloat. So they're going where the community is going, they're going where people are going. People were already digital, but COVID is now shoving everybody online, right?
Yeah.
So where people go, business go, marketers go. So
Yeah.
Facebook surprised,
And Facebook goes.
and Facebook was already there. Facebook knows when Jesus is coming, believe me. So Facebook surprised us, Bradley, because Mark Zuckerberg is always harping on about keeping Facebook for personal communication and family and friends. But when there's money to be made, understand that the reason why these social media platforms are free is because they are mining your data, and they're using your data to make money. So the more they can keep you on the platform is the more money they can make. So now that they're realizing that more businesses are coming on the platform. So this is kind of the circle of life on social media. Users go to social media. Marketers then follow the users to social media. And then because your favorite brand is on social media, you're using social media more. It's that endless cycle, round and round and round and round and round. And now people use social media almost as a search engine in and of itself. So you Google digital disruption agency, you see Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn come up, you see our website come up. So there these different touch points, and you might go to social media to see one aspect of information about us. So what are we posting, what are we saying? Then you go to our website, so you're hop skipping right across the digital platforms to see what we're doing in these different spaces, which is why what Monique said earlier about content fatigue and not posting the exact same thing all over the place is so important, because people go to your website for in-depth information, for frequently asked questions to give them more insight as to who you are and what your product is. They'll go to social media more than likely because it's instantaneous communication with you. They're engaging with you to see what you're like. They may like a post, they may like something. Then they might go to LinkedIn to see. So they're hop skipping and jumping across the place, Bradley. So not to go off on a tangent, but Facebook Business Suite, you'll notice that a lot of different social media platforms are now incorporating more business features. If you're on Facebook as a business account or a creator account, every minute, not Facebook, Instagram, you always see something that says, oh, new business features, check it out. So they're adding more because everybody's really now in their space and they're wanting to keep you in that space. So they're abandoning the whole, ooh, we're all digital thing. And they're going to, well, if you're going to be here, might as well. You know what I'm saying, Bradley? So he says the problem is, however, that with this change, the interface has become difficult to work with. Everything for Facebook is difficult to work with. Business manager is terrible, and this is a little bit more streamlined business suite, but it's not a lot different. How do you work around this challenge, particularly if you've invested time and energy into developing your brand identity? The only workaround, Bradley, is getting to know the platform, is understanding the platform. Now, Facebook has an Instagram page called Facebook Business Suite, where they give you lots of tips and stuff as to how to use it. And there's also a Facebook page called Facebook Business Suite that gives you a lot of tips and advice. Now, they tend to be very murky with them advice. So I would suggest just do some Google research. There's a lot of YouTube videos already popping up with people telling you how to set it up, how to use it. That's all we can do. We don't control these platforms, and they are at liberty to change it when they want to and make it as complicated as the exactly. So we just have to, if we're going to use the platform, we're just going to have to live with it and figure it out, Bradley. I'm so sorry. There's not a simple explanation. Cheryl Lampert says, does Digital Jamaica take on an intern? Cheryl, that's definitely a conversation we can have offline. Ivoni, I think it's Ebony Walter says, hi, not about this workshop, but I came off social media workshop and forgot to do the quiz. Okay, so Jackie, there's a question from Ebony. Walter, she says she forgot to do the quiz, and can that quiz and feedback be sent to her email? Okay.
This is for today's session. For today's session.
No, she said she didn't do the quiz for the social media workshop.
Okay.
Okay. Anonymous says, hi, K-More here. So I'm not sure if this is the same K-More. So K-More is on here twice. K-More, could you please direct that question to Kingston Creative directly? So guys, if you have any more questions, in the meantime, we can take the rest of Alberta questions, because Alberta, you are on fire today. You're asking all the right things, and we absolutely love to see it. So Alberta says there are a number of platforms, but which would you say is best for those in the performing arts, because one cannot be on every platform? Question mark. Clap her. Yes. Don't spread yourself thin across all platforms. Build up on one or two platforms, and when you've conquered that, then you move up. But performing arts, Alberta, is more, what you say, Monique, is more of a visual kind of thing. So would you say YouTube?
It depends on the type of performing arts, because
there you go.
I could do voice acting, and the persons who do the different characters and stuff like that, and that could literally be audio.
Definitely.
That could be podcast.
So that could be a podcast, right? Guys, what I wanted to disabuse yourself of, when we're talking digital, we're not just talking social media. We're not just talking Facebook, Instagram, and the one social media platforms that you know. We're talking about the whole gamut: email, website, mobile application, software, openware, platforms. It's digital platform. Digital is so much more involved than that. So you might not even need to be on a social media based platform. You could be on a search engine based platform like a Pinterest or a YouTube, Alberta. So it really depends on what it is that you do. We need more information than that to be able to give you a proper advice. She also said, how is the sales funnel stages related to the content types? They're
No,
not.
no. So Alberta, so that is a question that we can go into some more detail with, but that's gonna take some time. So
Yeah.
the content types, they're different. So if we're even looking at you're doing awareness, would I don't know anything about you, sit through a 1 hour long video, no matter what it is that you're talking about? Am I doing that? The answer is no, right? So it's not to say that it's directly, but there is some sort of correlation, even as we look at the different pieces of content, the different platforms, etc. But that's something that we would have to delve in deeper.
Right.
It's a part of the reason why I've actually dropped in the chat links to our different platforms, to the Digital Disruption Agency, because we do have a suite of, we're all about digital education. And as you can see from me sharing with you and from Kadia coming and dropping some gems, right? That we are passionate about digital education and about helping Caribbean people actually learn how to use these different platforms, right? So the Digital Disruption Agency, we have a set of workshops, and we actually have one coming up, our launch 2021, to help you prepare for
It's a
2021
series.
and
Yeah.
beyond. Is a 5 session workshop series to help you prepare for 2021. So that
Yeah. So
link,
everything. Oh, you
that
share the link?
yeah, man, that link is actually in the chat, and I would
Can
have
you share it
shared
again?
the Digital Jamaica, which is our sister platform. You'd have seen a couple examples that we would have shared about it.
Right.
Um, so for if you want actually more
In-depth advanced training,
you know,
especially with the workshops, because we're looking at digital brand identity, selling on social media, multi-channel content marketing. So content marketing in your email, in your WhatsApp, or your other instant messaging apps, content marketing on mobile applications. So we're looking at different types of content and where to place them and why and all of that. Selling on social media, how to build engagement and community. Because guys, we were having a conversation earlier to Monique, and I was explaining the soft sell to Alberta, and I
yeah,
was saying that with social media, digital marketers tend to take the soft sell approach, because it's still a social platform, right? And persons go on there most times to relax, to fasten people's business, because that is what social media is all about. So they don't want somebody who's like a Billy Mays, like, hi, my name is Billy Mays and this is OxyClean, and the hard sell approach where you're telling them that they can get 50% off if they sign up now. And it doesn't really work on social media because it feels intrusive in a social space. And I use the cash for gold example. So we have guys walking around on the streets in Jamaica shouting cash for gold, meaning they'll buy your gold jewelry and give you cash for it. Now that is for one, that's fine if you're out in the public, but imagine you're in a nice restaurant, you're probably on a nice date, you're all dressed up, looking gorgeous, or in your favorite bar or favorite the hangout spot, and this person come in and for the whole night they're shouting cash for gold, cash for gold, cash for gold, buy this, look here, I have different colors, look. It is jarring, it is annoying, and you're not going to want to be in that space for long. And social media platforms will punish you for it, because that means you're driving people away from their platforms, and they rely on bringing people to the platform and keeping them on it for as long as possible. So if you're doing things to drive people away, you will get penalized. Your content can get not necessarily ban, shadow ban, but they can bury your content and all these kind of things. So we tend to take the softer sell approach where we're doing more community building, because you see, when you build a community around your brand, you're almost building a cushion around your brand on social media. You're building a fan base, a fan club on social media with your community. You're taking your audience and you're funneling them same through that sales funnel, and even the community is even a part of your retention strategy as well. But that's for a whole nother workshop,
Yeah. So
Alberta. So
asking,
so
Alberta asked,
Kadeen, well, there's Kadeen. Let's look at somebody else who
she had asked some
Camille. Well,
important.
yeah, man, but we've been answering a lot of Alberta's questions.
Yeah, it's a quick, it's not anything long. She had asked about sourcing stats. You can literally Google stat counter, and whichever country, if you want social media stats, or if you want browser penetration or whatever within your market, stat counter.
Okay. Camille and Lynch Griffith says, Bradley, could you drop that question in the chat, please? Bradley was asking Jacqueline, what is the scale? What is the weighted? How are you weighting your 1 to 5? Is 1 the lowest or the highest, or is 5 the highest or lowest, or vice
It's
versa?
1 is actually the lowest, and
Okay.
5 the
is
highest.
okay,
I believe
awesome.
it was on the okay.
Camille and Lynch Griffith says, would you say using Instagram and Facebook for dance performance art would be the best social media platform to advertise dance skills? Let me tell you why it's difficult to answer a question about best social media platforms. Because we have to know, where is your audience?
Right.
Where are they? Where are they congregating online? And we don't know without getting more information from you, Camille. But what we'll say in general is that you seem to have, are we talking about video? We're talking about, you said use dance performance, so I'm assuming it's a video. Now I think Facebook is better for videos, especially for dance performance. If you can fit a dance performance in 1 minute, then chuck it on Instagram. You'll probably get a lot of feedback, because one, it's a video and videos perform excellently on Instagram, and two, it's art and people like that kind of thing on Instagram. But if it's a longer form video, you may find that Facebook is the best place, or even YouTube. So it's difficult to answer that question. Now there's an example of a lady called Chris Corio on Instagram.
Yes.
And Chris Corio is a dance hall fitness instructor. So she uses dance halls dancing styles as exercise. So she will show you different dance routines, and she's able to do that in 1 minute. Don't ask me how. That's some serious editing. So she does a dance routine, which is literally a fitness routine, within 1 minute, and she's supremely popular on Instagram because of that. Now, fair thing is very excitement and loud and hot. She's high energy to the core.
And
that may not, yeah, man, and she's sexy, and
like
she's
10 fireside.
she's toned, and she looks the part. Now that may not be
bodybuilder.
Because she's a champion bodybuilder. Okay, so she has that going for her. That may be something different from what you're doing. So she's doing dance performances as well, but her slant is as exercise. Your slant, maybe you said performance art. That's a different thing. So that's why it's a little bit hard. But just look at what other people are doing. I know you have dance troupes that are on Instagram that they just show you snippets of their shows, and then they send you to another platform to watch the full thing. So you can use Instagram as maybe a platform where you can tease your dance performance, and they enjoy it so much and they go, oh my God, let me go over to YouTube. Or you can use Instagram video, what's it called? Instagram IGTV, to put up to a 30 minute video up. I don't suggest you use up all that 30 minutes. Nobody watches a 30-minute video on IGTV. I would say keep it anywhere between 2 to 10 minutes, and you'll get a lot more engagement on it that way. But Monique said something that was very brilliant earlier. Monique said you can use it as a portfolio. So Camille, you can now upload your 30-minute dance videos to IGTV, and if somebody is interested in you and you want to show them portfolio of your dancing, you can literally send them your IGTV link. So that was a brilliant example from Monique as to how you can use these different digital platforms and the features on there without reinventing these and stressing out yourself, right? All right, Kimberly Smalling says, I'm looking to create a website for my personal portfolio, event and project management specialist, and my business page. I'm not sure. Gifting, consultancy, and management. Do you recommend I create 2 different websites or one with different pages? Okay, I think you're okay. So your website has different pages on there, and it could be different pages for it. So you have your home. So usually the basic structure of a website, your home page, your service or product page, your about us page, which means about you, and a contact page. This is the basic core structure of a website. Now you can use your you can add any amount of pages you want to add to your website. So if it is one business and you have different aspects of your business, then fine. Because if you go to Digital Disruption Agency, you will see that we have a corporate training, different from a workshop page, different from actual services page, because we do offer actual services. It's the one website, is the one company, they're just different elements of it. And we use our website to properly ventilate all the areas of DDA, and you can do that too. Kimberly Smalling, is not like an Instagram or a Facebook. You can sprawl out as much as you want to on your website. No limits to what you can put on your website. Of course, you have to keep it consistent and make sure that it makes sense to the visitors and that your website flows a particular way,
So
so it gets people to where you need to get them to.
That is the crux of the matter, Kadia. Does this make sense for the user who is visiting? Is the same person who is going to your page looking for event management and project management also looking for gifting, also looking for corporate gifting packages, whatever? If the answer is yes, then by all means,
you can have the same social media page.
And keep them on the same website too. If they are different, if these are 2 very different people in 2 different markets, one is down market and one is up market and whatever, then separate.
I'm very particular about having multiple websites. It can be annoying. Annoying. It can get complicated, because this is the thing, Kimberly. What you could do is have these 2 businesses on the same website if you have an umbrella company. So if you have an umbrella company name, say the website is kimberlysmalling.com. And Kimberly Smalling does event and project management, but she also does gifting, consultancy, and management. Now you can have 2 separate pages about different things, and what you will do is the audience for the different things will have a different landing page. So you can have a different landing page for your consultancy, and you can have a different landing page for your event management. So it's 2 separate links, and you're sending them to 2 different places on your social, on your website. You can do that. So if, for instance, you're on an Instagram, you only get 1 link, but if you use a third-party application like Linktree, you can do multiple links. So 1 link can say events management and consultancy, and that link take them to there. And 1 link can say corporate gifting, and it takes them to there. So you can use third-party tools to really niche down and get people to where you're trying to get them to. So they will, instead of landing on your general page and being confused as to where to go next, because what kind of different things you're doing on this one page, on this one website, you're sending them directly to that page now, where they can get that information directly. So Princess Onika Auguste say, how about the best platform for writers? Piggyback on Alberta's question. There's actually a website called MOOC. Is it MOOC? MOOC. I'm Googling it as we speak. It's I forgot what the name of the website is. I think it's called MOOC. I'll soon tell you what it is, what the name of the website is. And what it does is it allows you to create a profile on it allows you to create a profile where you can literally a portfolio on the website, and it's specifically for writers. Now, guys, I encourage you guys, because some of the questions you ask is a simple Google search. I encourage you guys to go on Google and literally type in best platform for writers or portfolio platform for writers. Now, what is going to happen is that you're going to get a lot of things thrown at you. You're right. You're going to get a lot of things thrown at you. But it is just about you going through and looking at the different, okay, it's called Muck Rack, MUCKRACK, muckrack.com. muckrack.com, and it is a portfolio building site for specifically for writers. And it doesn't matter what kind of writing you do. It's almost like goodreads.com. You can also use goodreads.com if you're a writer and you're a published writer. Okay, guys? Guys, I can't tell you how many platforms there are on the internet for anything you want to do. Just you have to really get good at searching on Google and making sure that you're honing in on the right platforms. Monique, we have 2 raised hands. Do you want to take some live questions?
Sure, if they're still on, because Shelley have asked someone for the Kingston creative team to resend the links.
Well, there's Jerry McDaniel and there's Kimberly Smalling. So can we can start with Mr. McDaniel?
Sure.
Okay, Mr.
Just
McDaniel,
before you
can
start,
unmute?
just before you go on, I've actually dropped the link in a second time, so
Okay.
you should be seeing it there.
Yes, we see it
Yes,
now.
we see it.
Great.
So guys who were asking about the links, they
It's
are
in the chat.
in the chat.
All right, Mr. McDaniel, you are on.
Yes, sorry, I was multitasking towards the end. I was listening and then working on my laptop. But what were you asking? Sorry.
Oh, well, you had your hand raised.
True? Oh, I'm sorry. That must have been my error.
Okay, no problem.
It's working on a tiny. It's working on a tiny device with fat fingers.
It's good to have you on here, though, Mr. McDaniels. Guys, Mr. McDaniels is a local celebrity.
Award-winning, renowned,
yes. Radio show host and communicator. So we're happy to have you, Mr. Daniel. Thank you so much for joining.
I was happy to be here. I mean, I just completed the evaluation. It was the time was very much worthwhile. The communication was very clear. There's a lot of value added. So I'm very happy that I came.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. All right. Yeah. Kimberly Smalling, you can unmute. It's your turn.
Okay, so good afternoon, ladies.
Hi, Kimberly.
That was a very good session.
Awesome.
Everyone joining, you guys do really, really good. I'm very intrigued, learned a lot. Just following up from the first question that you just answered, read the website versus the portfolio. On Instagram for the business page, what it is, basically I provide gifting service in the sense that I conceptualize, go through all the shopping aspects for you to present you with that gift. So that person that doesn't have the time to actually go and get the gift or to formulate what it should be, I basically conceptualize and do everything for you. Basically, I said that. But I do have different arms to the business or different product offering that is somewhat still gifting. And I am contemplating if putting all of this on the business page is a bit confusing, or do I create a different page? To give you an example.
Hold on, Kimberly, before you go, are you talking about a social media page? Or are you talking about your
specifically
website?
On Instagram, because you have clarified as to how to handle the website and the different
the website. Thanks for asking.
Yes. I was thinking for social media, because as far as it goes for social media, I would definitely create a different page for the portfolio aspect, for my personal aspect of the event management. For the business page though, which is mainly for gifting, I have different concepts that I am proposing, but in and of itself, So like for instance, just I'm trying to find
When
a
you
good
say
example.
different concepts, I don't
Yeah.
understand.
I'm about to give you some examples.
Okay.
So the main thing initially was to provide, for example, gifts. Not necessarily gift baskets, but personalized um, gift boxes, or I'll have canvas prints, or I tailor the gift to the person, the occasion, and what they're experiencing, and how you can make that person happy during that timeline. So really and truly, I have to do some form of consultancy with you to make the gift as personal as possible.
Right.
And then there are some general gifts, like I'll do personalized mugs, bottles, I'll do the generic things. But I also would like to launch into something called date nights, which is still a gifting aspect. You're providing a gift to someone, or for you, for 2 persons, or 2 to up to 10 persons. And I also have greeting cards that I merge with my gifts.
Well, to be honest, this all sounds like part and parcel of the same
the
thing.
same.
Okay, so I
There's a
just want to
same general concept. All right. So, Monique, could you do me a favor? Could you go on the Digital Jamaica and find the article? Because funny enough, Kimberly, we get this question a lot about how do you spread your brand across different across digital platforms, especially on social media. And that actually motivated me to write an article on the Digital Jamaica. And the article is addressing exactly that, how to spread your brand across social media platforms. So Monique is going to drop the link, and I would encourage you to go and read that article, because basically what I'm saying is, if the foundational brand is the same thing, if it is that if you're doing gifting, but you have different types of gifting, you have corporate gifting, you have this gifting, it's still gifting, and it's still a part of that brand. You don't have to have one page for social, for corporate gifting, and one page, because you know what that's going to end up doing? You're going to run into content burnout real quick, because now you're going to have to create content for a whole heap of different platforms. Now, Nike has 9 Instagram platforms. 9. Now, why Nike can have 9 Instagram platforms? Because they're rich and they can have people to run the 9. But apart from that, they can do that because Nike have Nike Sport, Nike Football, Nike Tennis, Nike Running, Nike Hockey. All of these are independent sport within their own right, and it's speaking to a different audience.
And they have the different product SKUs to support.
Yes.
They have 10 million different football shoes and the
running shoes.
The gears to match the shoes, and things that would complement football separate from tennis, because sport shoes are going to be different.
So they're speaking to very different, vastly different, even though all of this can come under the umbrella of sports.
Right.
You can see how tennis is different from swimming. So, and they have gears, because Nike is a sports brand, a lifestyle and sport, a fitness, health, lifestyle brand, right? So they're saying that we run the gamut of when it comes to sport and health and fitness. So you have Nike, you have the general Nike brand, and then you have Nike tennis, Nike football, Nike this, Nike that. So they have 9 platforms on Instagram, and all of them are very active, and all of them speak to a different person. You don't need to do that. You're literally talking to, because the same person who may buy a corporate gift could be the same person who's interested in an anniversary gift for their wife, or a date night gift for the husband or something. So your audience is not that vastly different, where you're going to have a completely different platform for the date night people, for the corporate people. No, you're a gifting service, a personalized, customized gifting service who caters to you, who does different types of gifting. So you're showing your versatility. And I would say, so you don't run into content burnout and burning out yourself, and so you can maintain brand cohesiveness, I would say stay there. Now, you can have events and project management paid separate, because that may be a completely different audience. Yeah, you might look into separating these 2 things, but the gifting one, no, I wouldn't advise you to do that to yourself at this point.
Right.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
No problem, Kimberly. Thank you. Anybody else have a raise hand question?
Just let you guys know too, I would have shared the link in the chat of the
For the
article that
article.
I would have mentioned a while ago.
Leslie Ann Beckles has her hand up. Okay, Leslie Ann, go ahead and unmute.
While Leslie Ann does that, Christine, the link has been shared in the chat multiple times, so it's there. Hope that you got through with being able to complete the quiz. At this point, guys, we've completed our presentation. Once you've completed the feedback form and the quiz, you're free to go. If you have questions, we are here to serve you.
Yeah, we're just doing this extra Q&A because I know you guys have a ton of questions because you would have gotten a lot of information today. So I'm not seeing Leslie Ann, so I'm going to... Yeah, so I'm going to, anybody else have a raised hand? So there's a question in the Q&A, Monique. It says, this is from Vivian, Arma. Okay, but what about if you have two totally different brands? One brand being visual art, which is an umbrella and includes painting, ceremonies, workshop, date nights, exhibitions, mirrors. You mean date night painting? I don't know. But the other brand is in the service industry as a cocktail. So I think she mean like sip and paint or something like that.
Date night ceramics.
Oh, date night ceramics. Okay, so it's like sip and paint. Yeah. But the other brand is in the service industry as a cocktail bartending and includes bar consulting and cocktail creation, menus, blah, 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 blah. Do you showcase both on the same website? And okay, again, with the website, it depends. What is the name of the website? If the website is vivianarmour.com, you can showcase everything that Vivian Armour does on separate pages. But if the website is viviancocktails.com, you couldn't use viviancocktails.com to talk about Vivian ceramics.
Right.
So what I would say, guys, because websites are expensive, the hosting can be pricey. Don't stress yourself. If you're going to go a website, and you guys, I would say for you guys, your personal brands. And as personal brands, you can get away with a lot more than a Grace Kennedy or a traditional brand can get out, or Digicel. And Digicel has one website. Even though the link is different, it's still Digicel, and they're just sending you to different links, okay? So guys, Vivian, what I would say to you is, if you're building a website, make your website vivianarmour.com, and then anything Vivian Armour does can be on the one website under different pages. And what you're doing is, depending on where the audience is for one or the other, you give them that particular link to that particular page. This is how you save yourself money and stress. Yes, Vivian, I would say make your brand doesn't have to be your name. No. I'm saying make your website your name. You can name your company a different name, but it's everything that Vivian Armour does. You're putting on that website, and you can say on a different page that Vivian Armour does cocktail creation, and you can have a name for your cocktail creation thing. But guys, let's practice to be cohesive with our branding. We don't have to have 5 million names for every single product. We don't have to do that. If it's Vivian Armour as a personal brand can be as multifaceted as she wants to be. So the website can be, and this is a tip, guys. You don't have to take it into account. It really depends on what you have going on that we are not seeing. Okay. Yeah. So this is just a general advice. The general advice to save money on having 5 million different websites, because now you have to think about buying your domain name that you have to renew every year, hosting that you have to renew every year. You have to think about getting somebody to create pages and all sorts of excitement. It can add up. So what I'm saying is, make your website your brand name as a personal brand, and use the different pages on your website to advertise different things that your brand does. Okay, and then depending on where you're putting that on social media, you put the appropriate link to the appropriate page for the audience who would be interested in that thing. I hope that helps, Vivian.
Yes.
All right. Okay, any more raised hands, guys? You literally have the floor. So any more raised hands? Anybody else want to come on? Any questions? Anything that you're struggling with? Any ideas you want to throw out for us or for the audience? Okay, Alberta has a race. I say Alberta on fire today, Simone. Okay, Alberta, you can unmute.
Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for all the information.
Sure. Are we pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Just to follow up, you were asking what I meant by performance. It was in the theater space. So that
It's
was
video. So it's video content.
no, it's theater.
Yeah, man. But how are you? So it's theater, but it's not. It's live, but you're putting the recording online because you're not doing it live online. And even if you're doing it live, it's still video.
Okay. Okay, I understand what you're asking. And to be a little more specific, since is operating within the performance space in terms of supplying assistance. I mean, we do theater, yes, but I meant like, say like stage management. How do you put that on a platform?
Okay, how do you put stage management? So you're a stage manager, you offer that service?
Yes.
So then say that. Say you offer stage management service. So let's do this, Alberta. What are some of the things that are involved in stage management?
So it would be getting the script and doing, let's say, the blocking so that you will know at what point you need to move props in.
Okay, so props, scripts, direction, yeah.
It would also involve like coordinating with the lighting, personnel coordination.
Right, so stage coordination, that sounds like.
Coordinating with the tech crew, coordinating with the
audio visual.
Right. So basically you're like the logistics person. You're bringing all of these different things together and making sure that they're all syncing and operating smoothly for the performance, yeah?
Yes.
So what you would do then on social media is talk about these things, because people who are interested in stage management will know that you know what you're talking about, guys. We're asking you to go on social media and exercise your expertise. Talk about what you know. And that is what is going to connect people, because people who are interested in stage management will realize that, oh, she's talking the language. Yeah. She knows what she's doing. Yeah. She knows about crew management, and she knows about syncing, and she knows about script writing. Talk about it. Yeah. And you can use different kind of content. So I would say, Alberta, you can do a lot of lives. You can do a lot of video recording where you're literally sitting in front of your video camera. It could be your phone, and you're literally talking about sharing some experience that you've had as a stage manager, or sharing a story about one time when the light fell down and it was like this close from hitting the talent in the head, and because of your quick action this happened. No, that's a joke, but still share your experiences. Give tips, give advice to other people who want to be in stage management. Give professional tips that people probably wouldn't even know, but that is showing your expertise in the
area,
right?
Because as we're talking about theater, remember that the fundamental for all of this is telling a story, and all of the different elements that you provide, that you support with, actually help within that communication process, help to support that communication, that message being shared effectively. Now, this is something that the audience doesn't instantly or immediately think of when they think theater. They think the actor or the singer or whatever, but no, you are showing this perspective. So I would almost, like Katie would have mentioned with the lives and behind the scenes, there's also another way to kind of take it in terms of this whole production that you're seeing, the value that's being added here. So you can literally show a little snippet or a clip of of a video or something and explain, pause it and then explain right here. This is how we transitioned and changed the mood when Horatio entered the court. If you realize the movement, because if you even go on YouTube right now, Katie, I will tell you about some of the weird, strange things that she watches on YouTube that intrigues her and captivates her. You're talking about people restoring art. You're talking about people
making shoes, leather,
people making
restoring shoes.
and ask Katie, is she a cobbler? No. is she a fine artist, painting, whatever, sculptures? No. But it's just something that's
what fascinates me. What fascinates me is that it's people talking about their craft.
Their
People exercise zone of genius. They're exercising their expertise, and it captivating to you. And Monique, you hit on something really awesome a while ago. There are, if you go on YouTube, you'll find a lot of what voice coaches. Right. So these are the people who train musicians how to hold your breath and how to produce certain notes and how to stand, because I didn't realize there were so many things involved in singing. So your posture will determine how strong a note come out. And what I find them doing is they will look at performances of celebrities and other singers. And what they do is they say to their audience, guys, who do you want us to review next? And you say, oh, review the Beyonce performance on the VMAs, and she played the Beyonce VMA performance, and while Beyonce is performing, she's talking you through what Beyonce is doing, why Beyonce was able to produce this note, and why she's standing that way, and why she shifted her body weight to this leg when she was gonna belt a note. And it is so informative to me, and I'm sitting there going, achoo, man, that's why. What do I know about voice coaching? Nothing.
No, the gem that's in this, what the layer that Katie just added to this is, you don't have to be the stage coach for Lion King to be able to do this for Lion King. You can literally take and showcase somebody else's work. No, credit them and tag them and say, this is a review of this, and clearly outline that is not you. You're critiquing,
deconstructing, reviewing,
somebody else's work, and so you can share that information, and you can share productions.
But the genius behind that too, Monique, is that you don't have to create that content. You don't have to. So it's saving you time on creating the content, because the video would have already been out there. You're just taking this video now and just reviewing it. You know what I mean? And this, guys, is a professional tip for persons who have never done the thing that they're doing now. You're just going into that field. You don't have a portfolio. You don't have any real experience in it, but you know what you're talking about. Maybe you just leave university, or you're just getting into that space. This is good for you, because this is how you can use other people's talent to build up a portfolio for yourself. Use other people's content, So for the voice coach who's just coming out of voice coach school, if there's such a thing, and she wants to show that she knows what she's talking about, she's going to take a Beyonce video and she's going to do a deconstruct or review of the Beyonce video. She's going to tell you, oh, Beyonce hit that note because, and Beyonce noticed the shape of her mouth and where the tongue hits the roof of the mouth. Believe me, it's very scientific. And if you hear them talk, sometimes you're going, okay, so are we still talking about music, or we're still talking about music? Okay. All right. I'm following, right? So, and because of this, you know that this person must know what they're talking about because of the way they're able to explain everything to you. And they're talking about, okay, are you hearing the band? That was a band cue. And that's why she shifted the tone to match the band cue. And listen, that is how, as a new person within a field, you can start building up your expertise and start showcasing that expertise to people without stressing yourself because you've never done this before, right? So that's a pro tip, guys.
No, magic and genius in this is in aligning yourself and reviewing all of these different persons, whether it's on a local seen, because you have total control to how you manage this process. Do you do local productions? Do you do Caribbean productions? Do you do international productions that specifically deal with issues of conflict or race conflict or whatever? You choose, right? But this now allows you to spread your wings beyond your physical, local, or space or genre or whatever. And you can get the eye or attention of somebody
Yep, from Beyonce.
From Disney, who, because of your critique of the 2011 hit The Lion King musical that they did live on Broadway, or, you know, so you can expand your reach and your footprint there.
All right, Alarna, I hope we would have answered your question satisfactorily. Now we have a long Q&A question, Monique, and it's coming from Bradley. Guys, we have 8 minutes and then we have to go, so get your questions in right now. Yes. Bradley Benskin again says, I have a brand called Green Grasshopper Digital Media. All right. It is registered, it's a registered business, and I have created a persona, right? I've created a number of subcategories based on the various facets of the business, which is primarily around photography, videography, and creating digital content. Mine with all them subcategories there in Bradley. That sounds like a lot of subcategories, right? My thing is based on your statement on the website where you say use your name. I don't use my real name for the business. You don't have to. I am one of the directors and the company takes on the persona. So although I'm primarily behind the word, the company brand is Green Grasshopper, sure.
Which is good.
Right, which was developed out of the fact that I started at a nature landscape and I wanted to stay true to my roots. Would it be better to stay true to the identity, or would it be better to tie my brand? Because no, I was using the example of using your name. Bradley, you're doing photography, videography, and creating. You could call it the Downward Dog Photography Studio. It doesn't matter because all of these things come under the same umbrella. Photography, videography, video editing, all that comes under the same umbrella. So I wouldn't be turned off if I went on a particular photographer page and see that he also does videography or whatever, because it's part and parcel of that same kind of digital visual kind of content production and creation. Yeah. Right. So no, what you're doing as is just like Kimberly is literally part and parcel of the exact same thing. It's one brand with the same base, right? Why we were saying that to Amor was because it sounded like she was doing vastly different things. And I'm saying one way of saving money and not having to worry about having multiple website is to just use her name as her brand name, and then she can put everything that she does under that brand name. Don't, please guys, don't go and change your brand names to your personal names. No, if you have the same kind of business, it's the same core business, you're just offering different add-ons to that business, like maybe a little video add-on, whatever, keep your brand name. By all means, you don't have to use your name. I'm just saying it saves time, it saves money doing it that way if you do vastly different things and don't want to have multiple websites. Okay,
right? If
guys,
there's
please
one core theme,
core thing. Okay. Haley Hi says, I'm a trained social worker who's also a photographer. How do I merge this? You may not want to merge this, Haley, because social work seems like there are ethics. There are ethics around social work, and you may not want to be taking photographs of children who are in certain situations and posting them. But here's a tip. You can use the experience you've had as a social worker to be able to better capture emotions, or to be able to better capture a mood, or capture the essence of something, because you have seen raw emotions. You've seen people in their worst state and how them look and how the feeling of it, and you may be able to capture that in photography. So that is how you're using your experience as a social worker, and you're embodying that into your photography, and that is going to, it's going to have a visceral connection with people, because people are going, wow, these are raw emotions that this person is able to capture if that's the type of photography that you're doing. But I wouldn't tell you to merge those two, because there's ethics around social work and what you can post and can talk about and not talk about, and whose face you can show and all that. So I don't know if
Right.
there's a
So that
merge
gets kind of
there.
tricky. What I
Yeah.
will say though, search Humans of New York. You can
Oh,
search their Facebook and you can search their Instagram page, because this is a photographer who started out in New York, literally taking photos of persons and sharing their stories.
just
Now,
random people he meets on the street.
all of this is with their consent, and all of this takes into account the different ramifications. So you are within your country and you know what the restrictions are as a trained social worker, and what can be shared. And of course, consent, consent, consent. If it is that these things intersect in this way that we're imagining, if they are not connected or related, then you're not to connect them.
So you're welcome, Bradley. So this is so fascinating, Monique. So Anonymous, they didn't give their name, says, I have a Caribbean brand, and it's called Feminist Scholar, where I write articles about religion, mythology, and history, and Caribbean Feminist Scholar, okay, and history, and connect feminism, I thought that said sexuality, sorry, sexual assault and mental illness to these. And this person has a show on YouTube. I'm assuming it's a woman. So she has a show on YouTube called Canon Talk. Quick side note, Canon Talk doesn't suggest Caribbean Feminist Scholar to me. I'm just saying the name doesn't really connect to the identity, the brand. There's something off about your brand identity, because if you're a Caribbean Feminist Scholar,
two different things. So she's
no,
saying one brand is Caribbean Feminist Scholar, where
no man, she says she have a brand, and then she says she has a show on YouTube.
Yes, but I also
yes. So her other thing is that so I'm assuming that the Canon Talk is where she does her stuff.
Okay.
Unless that's a separate brand she's talking about.
Different things.
The person who dropped this, can you just clarify to let us know if Canon Talk is the same thing as Caribbean Feminist Scholar, if that's the video version of it? And she says, I also write historical romance and fantasy. So do I merge that? This can be merged easily. This can be merged easily. I don't see a vast separation between these two things, because I'm sure within your writing, you're addressing some of these, one or two of these things in some way, shape, or form.
The major themes or tropes
seems to be women and women's issues. Yeah.
Bildungsroman, the whole idea of the coming of age of some sort of woman.
Yeah.
Whether you're using olive senior, gardening in the tropics, or whatever it is that you're pulling on.
Yeah. So I see where this can be easily merged. Anonymous, if you could just drop and tell us if these are three different brands of the same brand, because if Canon Talk is the Caribbean Feminist, she says Canon Talk is where I talk about the religion sister, so it's under Caribbean. Okay, I don't understand. Is it called Canon Talk, or is it called? So Canon Talk is on the Caribbean Feminist Scholar. So I'll go back to my original comment to say that this doesn't compute for me, because Canon Talk. So Canon Talk is where I talk about the religious aspect of it. That makes sense, because you have in the Catholic Church you have canons, Monique. So I think maybe that's where I know for Catholics they have certain canons and stuff that they use to, just like how in law they have canons that governs whole right. So I don't know if that's what I think that's what she means by Canon Talk, which is almost like a version of religious talk. A hard talk.
Just hard talk. Okay.
Right. So I think she's saying Canon Talk is where she talk about the religious aspect of it, and then she writes about the other aspect of it. I know she's wanting to do books. I think you can merge all of these. I think that would be a fantastic website. Please to send me the link. I think that would be fantastic, actually. So this is this is actually exciting to me.
Especially where this is coming from a Caribbean perspective.
Yes.
And if we're talking about multiple women, because
intersectionality.
how many How many women do we know who are victims of sexual assault, and how does this impact whether life or your perspective or
And
view?
their mental state and all of that.
Yeah, like this juicy, this saucy, and
Yeah,
I think
I'm interested.
actually the best note to end today's session
Right.
on. Guys, more 40 of you stayed on board and took advantage of this opportunity beyond an hour after our close of on the official session. We thank you so much for your time and thank formally the Digital Disruption Agency. Thanks Catapult. Thanks
Kingston Creative,
Kingston Creative,
Fresh Milk,
American Friends of Jamaica for this amazing opportunity to share with each and every one of you, our Caribbean brothers and sisters, a slice of our expertise and what we know. We would have shared with you ways that you can keep in contact with us. We are serious. We want you to connect with us on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, so that we can continue this conversation. We will be in contact with you, so don't with that we will independently send you the resources, the worksheets that we have for you via email, so you can look out for that by the end of this week. Those will be in your inbox.
We have guys, there's no way Catapult could have exhausted the digital marketing or the social media marketing or any one of their other modules. There's no way they could have exhausted it. They were very open and receptive to hearing what we as the instructors had to say and took a lot of it into account, and I must commend them for that. But there's no way we could have exhausted it. So what Monique and I have gone ahead and done is created a workshop series called Launch 2021, and it's more in depth, and we cover what we call the fundamental pillars of digital marketing, and it is it's to set you up for 2021, especially companies, brands like yours who would have been affected by COVID, and you're wanting to rebound and pivot and come back strong next year. The workshops are for you. So if you guys are interested in that, we will probably send you some information via email as well. I know Kingston Creative will also be sharing some information about it, as well as our informal but formal homies or partners in certain respects. So thank you guys so much, and we're looking forward to engaging with you on our other platforms. Take care of yourself and your businesses.
So we formally and officially turn over to you, Jackie.
Great. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
I am sure that everybody in this session will agree with me that you definitely didn't fail to deliver this morning at all. What an awesome session, packed with information, enthusiasm. And I am sure that everybody is leaving the session today with something. So thank you very much, Monique and Kadia. You always do a fabulous job, and today was no different. I'd also like to say to the attendees in the session, just confirming that the recordings, because there were a couple of persons asking about the recordings of the sessions, we are making available the recordings for all 6 modules available to you. We are currently tweaking them a little bit, taking out some of the snags and the rough edges, and we will be in another few days we'll be sharing the link to access those recordings. I'm hoping as well that by now you would have all completed your feedback form. Is there anybody in this session that has not completed their feedback form? You can raise your hand if that's the case. And we also, I just want to confirm, okay, I see that hand. Also want to confirm that you have, see that hand as well. Also want to confirm that you have completed the quiz, the mini quiz that you were asked to complete. And this might be a good opportunity for me to share some of the other modules that we cover. This is the final opportunity to do the sessions, well, as we bring them to you in English, right? Some of the other sessions that you can still register for, English sessions that you can still register for, are the social media management for creatives. That session is tomorrow. Final session is tomorrow. On Wednesday, we have protecting and benefiting from your intellectual property. That's very important. We all want to understand what happens in that space and to make sure that we are truly benefiting from our creative work. And so that session is on Wednesday. If you haven't already done so, I encourage you to sign up for that session. Next week, Tuesday, we will bring to you our final session in project management for creatives on Wednesday. That's next week, Wednesday, managing your money. And next week, Thursday, we will be doing our final English session. And this session is e-commerce and online sales. Now, I also want to say that we will be offering some of these modules in Spanish, in French, and in Dutch. So if you have colleagues, friends, relatives that live in these countries that speak that language that you believe will benefit from these sessions, I believe somewhere around the first week of November, if you visit our website, you will see information regarding these sessions. So we want you to look out for that and to tell your friends who you believe may benefit from these sessions to log on to our websites and see more information regarding those sessions. Okay. All right. So we are past the time. And if we don't have, I just want to see if there's anybody else still working away at the 2 forms that you were asked to complete. If not, I'd ask you to just indicate now by raising your hand, so I'll know that we need to allow a few more minutes for persons to complete. All right. Okay. So we still have a few persons. We thank you for the kind words. We see them coming through, and thank you for the persons who are responding to say that they have completed the forms. It's okay once you've completed both forms. It's okay to if you are ready to leave the session. It was an absolute pleasure bringing the session to you, and we're happy. Based on the comments, it's evident that you enjoyed the session and have learned, and so we're delighted about that. In my final comment before we close, I just want to say that, you know, one of the things that you really want to be able to do, and a great takeaway from the session, not just this one but all the ones that we bring to you, is to work through how you will actually apply some of the stuff that you have learned in the sessions, right? You want to know that you are able to take the information that you get and that you are able to apply it to your business, so that you can truly add value where those things are concerned. So application is very important. And so we anticipate that you will be able to take the knowledge that you would have garnered from these sessions, this session and the others, and apply them to your practical space. Okay. At this point, I'm going to say, have a good afternoon, everyone. Continue to stay safe. And I look forward to seeing you in our remaining workshops. Okay? Have a good afternoon, all. Bye-bye.